Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 357. Hopefully, you guys have had an amazing Saturday. I know I did. I can't wait to hang out with tonight's guest, a fellow Michigander, Michigan grower, Cannafari. How you doing tonight? It's a pleasure you were able to take time and hang out. Sorry for my YouTube popping up and playing in the background.
I think it was mine.
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome, my friend. Tell us how you're doing and where we can find you.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm so happy to be a part. This is a really cool thing you guys have going here. And Eagle, I really like your little podcast. It's super huge, honestly, on YouTube. I couldn't believe I didn't know about it. I really, really liked it. And I'm just happy to be a part. And yes, I am in Michigan.
That makes it more fun right there. And you're actually episode 2 of season 2. This is the second day of the second year on this project.
Wow.
So I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have you in the early stages of year 2.
Yeah, man, season 2, man, you just missed me loving it. I'm so happy all these people come together and build this community. I think that's one of the biggest aspects that make it so beautiful to do all of what we do is a community.
Were you able to I want to just make sure, right from the get, you were able to get your YouTube and your chat brought up, correct?
I clicked that YouTube part, but I think it opened up a new link. So I see everybody here, but I'm going to try pulling this smaller and minimizing it maybe.
Yeah, that's what I do. I kind of shrink the screen and I kind of just pop up the other one. And there you go, and minimize screen. Perfect.
Let's see. But you know what?
Make sure and go live chat as well.
Oh, let's see. Top chat. I gotta click live chat. Okay, cool. And then
I don't even know why they do make you separate the two. It's really kind of stupid.
I should have connected yeah, fair enough. I should have connected another screen. Seeing
what you can do as well is up in the top hand corner, the right hand corner, you click those 3 dots and it'll offer you a pop out, like another pop out window.
Oh, really?
And then you can go ahead and float that over next to your Zoom screen.
Cool. That was on point. Super on point. Oh, yeah, pull this. Right on, everybody. I'd love to see everybody in the chat. Super cool.
19. I'm sure they're just getting their notifications. Shoot, last night we worked our way all the way up to 160 watching at once.
What? That is beautiful, man.
Yeah. I'm pretty proud of what's happened here in the last year. The community that has built around the show. Pretty fucking amazing.
Right, no kidding. And you said you were in Michigan too?
Yes, sir. I'm up in northern Michigan. I was born and raised in the Genesee County area, but kind of
I'm very familiar with that
towards
area.
Greeley.
Oh, okay. Man, that is super cool. I can't wait to get you a package and get you growing some of this gear. I really, really like to see a lot of the stuff go into Michigan hands because, if anybody ever finds anything, you can always make it back into the breeding program or whatever. And then it's always cool because, then cuts can float around and this and that a lot easier.
I agree. And that should always be an option for, breeder tester. You know what I mean? If the breeder, in my opinion, if they want a cut of that back, they should be able to grab a cut of that tester back.
Yeah, it's for sure. And I understand when it doesn't come back. There's a lot of, people lose things, or, they're really not into, moving things back and forth like that and stuff like that. And like, when I generally put seeds out there, I really make it so, you can do whatever you want, and, as be, and I given a lot of really good cuts out there too, and I've seen them go into programs, and told people, hey man, this is one of my favorite cuts, try not to share it or whatever, hold it. And I've seen them spread and float, and I can't really be angry. It's a good thing to see cuts and things spread and go all over the place, and it's just kind of different between every individual and how they feel about the whole thing. So and I agree with you, being able to, get it back or whatever and share is kind of like, the beauty of community, like I was explaining earlier. And some people, don't, but, it's all up to how they want to go about it once it hits their hands.
Well, with that being said, though, I'm right there with you about spreading cuts like that. Sometimes you get one that you want to hold on to, and there should be some type of respect when you pass it along. I had a 9-pound hammer cut that was labeled the Eagle cut that passed
Nice.
around here in Michigan to
Okay.
a few people, and I got that cut from, it was actually from the tester phase of the 9-pound hammer, because I was a tester for Subcool throughout the years, and that one hit my hands
Wow. Super
pre-release,
awesome.
and I found a nice one in it. And unfortunately, after that initial release, man, it went fast. That now first round of 9-pound hammer went fast,
Oh
and
yeah.
then there was a change in parents. There
Yep.
was a change in parents. So what was in that first round wasn't in the second round. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So I had a
Yep.
nice cut. So I kept it labeled Eagles cut, because I knew at that point you'd be lucky to find it. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
And so I asked everybody, don't give this out unless you give it, you ask me first, so I can kind of keep track of who's got it and keep some validity to it. You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Keep some type of list, and
See how she's doing.
that's honorable, I think.
Right. Yep. Yep. See how she's doing. How she's doing for
But
other people. See what she ends up valuing at the whole. Everything. Go on. Go on. And
but
it's
then it did. It didn't work out like that. I actually got pissy and kind of let the cut go just because of that shit. And
yeah.
what happened with that is, usually if I see that happen, I'm just like, okay, next round. You just, you're no longer trustworthy like that. You know what I mean? You don't get the next round of goodies usually. But that one
Right.
went a little bit too far, so I just
Yeah.
cut it. It was
Yeah. And it happens. And like that's the thing. If cuts don't float around, they could be gone forever. It's like some of these really old strands you hear about in the forums, they were either, never shared or whatever, or somebody got whatever, and then the cut disappeared completely. And then, if there wasn't that person, inbreeding the line, or, making the F3s, F4s, or whatever, and getting them out there, 10 years later, we wouldn't have, a lot of this stuff. So, it's kind of like this whole like, and tricky battle. And like, I definitely know what you know where you're at with, tracing your cut. You find something beautiful, you want to see it go into, all these different hands, so you don't lose it yourself and all this stuff. And you don't want people to, drop, the name or change it or this or that, or, whatever. So you don't have track of it anymore. And then, you don't even know what happened, and that's a lot with this older gear that I brought up. People would change the names so much that you wouldn't even know what the heck happened to the line, or if it was even still around, and it probably is just renamed. So it's this double-edged sword just constantly going around, and I've definitely given out cuts that I've bred. I named the strand, found the pheno after, huge hunts, put it out there in people's hands. And, not even a day later, they've changed the name of the strand. And, it's just like, what? But double-edged sword, always, always. And that 9-pound hammer, it's so funny you bring that up, because that was a really, really good one. And it had, you're so on the button about it. And it had that initial release where it was so good, and then the parents did change and it wasn't that great. And anybody who had that initial drop had like seriously really, really awesome 9-pound hammer. I remember it very vividly because somebody I also knew got original release 9-pound hammer, and he was like, oh man, this strand is so good, blah, blah, blah. He crossed it to something. I'll have to check. I think it was chocolate twist or something. And he made this like chocolate 9-pound hammer. He gave me like hundreds of the seeds, and he was just like, oh, spread these out and stuff. And I was giving them out for a while, and oh man, it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cross. And you know, he tried getting the 9-pound hammer again later down the line to recreate the cross because he still had pollen, and it just didn't turn out nearly the same. So you know, I really cherish those original seeds.
I do too. I always keep a couple back, to be honest with you. If I get me a 10-pack, you know, I try to pop 8. Yep. Keep 2. I figure in a regular seed run, it's a 50-50 chance I'll at least get one female. in the you know, I want to bring her back. Hope.
Yep, you're absolutely right. I mean, honestly, at this point of the breeding, you know, phenomenon, you know, most of the genetics are very, very like good all around. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of differences in that, but you know, most of the strands out there have beautiful appeal, smell, taste. I mean, some of the highs are lacking, I'll say, but I mean, you know, everybody's been kind of breeding for the same type of thing for 10, 20 years now. So, I mean, you know, to pop 10 seeds, you know, yeah, you will be able to see a huger amount of the population, especially at a breeder standpoint. You know, if you pop hundreds of seeds or this or that, you can really, really dissect the strand. But, you know, if somebody, you know, gets a good strand, you know, a 10-pack, you know, they could pop, you know, 2, 3 of those seeds. And, you know, if they're regulars, you want to kill off the males or whatever, if they don't breed or whatever. I encourage everyone to breed. I think everybody should. But going on to what I was saying, you know, you can find really good phenos, you know, with a couple of seeds. Cause, you know, I mean, in the last 10 years, you could pop 1 or 2 seeds, even off a bag seed, and possibly find something good. Not saying that that is, but a lot of these big time strands were bag seeds. So, you know, a couple seeds is all you, and like, there's so many strands and variety out there, you know, to pop, you know, 20 or 30 different seeds of one strand with like limitations and all this. And, you know, I see a lot of people getting a lot of different seeds. So, you know, they really look around, you know, you would have to really, really want to dig that strand to pop 30 or 40 seeds or more, anything more than like, let's say a 10-pack or standard breeder pack. And, you know, I put out 5-packs because I really like for people to be able to, you know, pay a smaller amount and just kind of dig into a line because, you know, seeds can get expensive. A lot of these prices go really high, and to keep the numbers as low as I can gives people a chance to try different types of varieties that are being created and not really have to, you know, bury so much or have so many seeds. And, you know, I've collected seeds for a long time. I have more seeds than I could ever pop in a lifetime. So, you know, I keep thinking about things like that, and I want people to dig into the phenos. So, you know, there's a lot of factors to look in. You know, I could speak on it in so many different angles. Can't keep them all as correct.
Well, hopefully we get into some of that. Sometimes, and I'm a little slow sometimes on that mute button. Yeah, because I go back and forth from mute button to chat. So excuse me if you see me mumble on a little bit before I catch that shit.
That's okay, man. I'm looking at the chats the whole time, so you know it's you know, I'm just reading up on what people are saying too. Yeah, that's a very good company. Oh, sorry.
Oh, we're just getting started. They're just filling in. So let's. We usually what we do is we get started right from the beginning. Hopefully, you can share a little bit of your lead up to the cannabis, your current cannabis phase in your life. So basically, if you don't mind sharing, I always ask, when was that first experience? If you don't mind telling us.
So I remember being a freshman in high school, about 14 years old, and and I'm at the lunch table. It's the beginning of the year, so we just got into high school out of the 8th grade there, and I had just met a couple people because my sister was like a senior, so she knew some of the older crowd, and they had younger brothers and stuff like that. So I had met some people, and I remember being at this lunch table, and this girl was asking us if we wanted to go to Sadie's with her, and all of us said no. And I was like, oh man, like, why'd they all say no? Like, what are you guys planning on doing or whatever? And they're like, oh man, I'm gonna smoke for the first time, this and that. And like, I had 2 other buddies there, and they're like, oh yeah, man, I can get it for you and all this different stuff. And I was like, oh, I want to be a part of this. This is super cool. You know, my friends are, you know, about to try something. I want to be involved, right? And so we planned to like smoke later that night. I had one of them come to my house, and traditionally, you know, I'm Middle Eastern, so my family's grown up with smoking. They've always been smoking hookahs, the whole thing. Just, you know, it's always been around me. I just didn't realize what it was too much, and what they were doing. So I never really looked into it. You know, I was just a kid. So yeah, you know, my buddy gets to my house for like the first time, and he's like, dude, what the heck? You got all this like smoking stuff, hookahs, and like all this crap. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what any of this crap is. So he goes and grabs one of those hookahs, and you know, we start just like using that. And that was before the herb had came yet. So I'm just still waiting for these other 2 kids to come. And it's like later that night, and we finally meet up with them and everything. And we really like, spent the whole day trying to make like a small like handheld pipe out of like all kinds of like trash, and so we could like try this all out. And you know, one of those older kids came with us that I don't know, it was like one of the kids' hockey team or something, and he's all like, yeah, man, I don't know what the heck you were thinking trying to smoke out of that thing. Just like made fun of this whole little pipe we put together. And we were out there, so we all like smoked it. I mean, he brought maybe like 2 or 3 grams. I smoked like a good amount of it, and I just couldn't feel anything. I don't know, maybe it was because it was the first time, but we were trying to really smoke it. And he had rolled it up into a blunt, and then had some joints, so we, you know, smoked a good amount. But I don't know, maybe I was just too young or whatever. I always hear first time you don't really feel it, and I sure didn't. I remember we went to try to go to this party right after, and only one of the kids was on the list. So the lady was like, hey, you want to come in? None of you guys can come in besides this one kid. And the one kid was like, no. So she instantly called the like police to like look for this kid in my neighborhood. And we saw like a cop looking around, so we like ditched the stash and everything, and we just started booking it, and we finally got away and stuff. And we were like all like, you know, hyped out, like, whoa, that was crazy. And then like the next day, my buddy, you know, calls me up, and he's like, so what are you doing? I'm like, dude, we should go find that shit. And we sure went, and we found it, and it was all wet and everything. We tried drying it out and making it work, but it didn't. But I remember like the 3rd or 4th day after, you know, we were constantly getting herb, and I definitely felt really, really high. I mean, I remember maybe it was like the 6th or 7th day. You know, we were like, all right, you know, we tried some different bud from that one kid, and we were like getting real stoned, like really stoned. We were like, all right, we need to save up and get a good amount of this stuff. And you know, we were saving up our lunch money for like, I don't know, maybe a month or 2 between all 4 of us. And we finally had enough like to buy like an ounce of regs, is what it was called. It was Reggie. We'd always call it Reggie Jackson or mids. It was just like the standard, like it always came stemmed and seeded. And it was always like squished together, like almost like brick, but not still in the brick. And it always had the same smell, taste, and everything. Like it didn't matter if you were getting it from anybody else. If you knew what regs was in the mids and you brought it up, everybody knew that same taste, smell, high. It was the same every time, no matter how many times you got it. It was always the same, like, it was weird because, like, you know, now that I'm into genetics, I look back at that and I'm like, I can't believe that shit was always the same. It didn't matter how many hundreds of people you talked to. When you brought up the mids and regs, they knew exactly what it was. They knew exactly how it smoked, exactly how it came every single time, which was hilarious, you know? Yeah, and we would call it Reggie Jackson. So we, you know, we would pick up this stuff for a while. I mean, we were freshmen in high school, and so the first time we grabbed it, it was one huge nug, and it came in a newspaper, and we were stoked, man. We were like, oh shoot, this thing is huge. And it was just like maybe a little over an ounce, and we were picking off that thing for like a month, but one guy was only able to hold it. So, he kept it at his house, and he obviously smoked more pinners than all of us. And eventually we were picking up this Reggie's for a while until we got a connection to the Canadian Beasters that was coming down. And it was just more golden, never seeded. And it would just really come golden, like, I don't know, like Colombian gold kind of look or something, but it was Beasters. It wasn't that much better than the mids, man. It wasn't. And we would have that for a while. And then like the chronic day just like literally came, and it was just like, we got our first bag of like Kush, or chronic it was called at the time. And it was like way daker, and it was way more expensive. I mean, you were talking about getting an 8er of the mids for like 25 or 20 or like 15 an 8er. And then the chronic would come by and they were like, no, this is going to be 25 or 20 a gram. And you're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And they'd be like, no, dude, it's just more superior. And you'd be like, all right, well, whatever. I've been running the beasters and mids for so long. Let me just try this stuff. And yeah, it would be like so much more superior. You'd like smoke like one bowl and you'd be like, holy crap, like I'm instantly ripped. Like, it was different for sure. And we knew it. And we were getting that. We were force feeding that guy money. Like, seriously, we would always just get the chronic, the Kush, and it was OG. And there was like some chem that came through there that, man, it was always the best stuff. He never had much of it, and he would never try to give any of it up. And we'd always try to get it from him. But yeah, and then like right after that, it was like we really got to try. We had this one guy that we ended up meeting. He was just picking up all the time and really like working it. And he got into like professional gaming a little bit. So he like got all this money from playing like Halo 2. And he took all that money and would just start buying weed. So he would literally be like, yo, man, we're going down to Detroit and I'm going to pick up. So we would hop into his car. He bought a like really awesome car. We drove down there and he would just drop us off at some random trap. And we would be sitting like literally like in the most sketchiest areas ever, as he would be gone for hours at a time to go pick up whatever. And it got sketchier and sketchier as it went on, of course. And other, things would be brought up and stuff. So we were just like, the whole thing, but we ended up going to like drum circles down there and meeting all kinds of hippies and really got a huge exposure to all the varieties. I mean, I got to smoke crazy amounts of like widow, blueberry, strawberry cough, skunk, like Maui Wowie, Colombian gold, like, I could go on with the list because I don't know what it was, but around the Detroit area, I don't know if it was coming through Canada down or whatever. But a lot of these different varieties that I've heard so much about in all the years, I literally got to try like all of them as a kid. And, I really appreciated, these older cats we were rolling around with because they were really into all the varieties, and they would make sure to, there's 3 different flavors at the room, we're going to buy a little bit of this of all of them. And, I would just happen to be with them or this or that and get to try so many varieties. I like specifically remember, blueberry, bud that literally just reeked of blueberries no matter how, and your mouth would taste like blueberries, or like white widow that was just so white. The bud was just like iced out white and things like that. And then, as I got into it older, down the line and was able to get into like the growing aspect. I had a guy who was seeing that I really enjoyed a lot of strands because I was doing a lot of glass work, and he was all like, man, why the heck do you not grow this stuff and this and that? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm not allowed to or whatever. And he's like, no, blah, blah. And he kind of got me into whatever. And he noticed that I was like really into all the strands, and he was the one who got me started with trying them out. And first couple of cuts I had were bubblegum times bubblegum. It was called Bubblegummer. And I think that's, it was made by in the US or something, if you ever hear the bubblegum story, and then passed off to another European company, and he crossed it to itself and made the bubblegummer and really pushed that one out. And so it was just bubblegum times bubblegum. And then I also got to do a Northern Lights Big Bud, a couple of cuts of that. And this I got a red diesel too, and that was anything but diesel. And it was red for sure, but it wasn't diesel. It didn't even grow. It was like the smallest, like most like runt of a plant ever. But the Northern Lights to Big Buds, those were huge and really beautiful cuts. And the Bubblegummer was really something great, and these cuts were from seed. you know, they weren't floating cuts. You know, some older guy had popped the seed. He couldn't keep them around. My buddy, you know, wanted to get me started. He gave them to me and, you know, threw up some lights with me or whatever. You know, I tried my first run there and, at first, you know, I thought they were crap. I was like, man, like I could have, you know, I just tried so many varieties in my life that like Northern Lights, you know, I had so many bags of Northern Lights that just was just so generic compared to like a lot of the OGs and gassier strands that I was getting. And the bubble gummer was pretty good, but you know, they were just weaker than I wanted. You had to really smoke a good amount to like get you there where like, you know, I was able, you know, he would, you know, the buddy who gave me these cuts would bring over like some chem dog and, you know, you'd take one hit of that stuff and be good for like a couple hours. So, you know, it was really hard to, you know, and I just thought, oh man, these strands suck. Well, now I go back and I wish I still had those cuts or at least seeded them out or anything. All right, let me check on this comments here.
You know what's funny is I can appreciate, you know, it sound, do you know Al? I used to get at one point I used to get some smoke from a cat that I made trips
and that's how it kind of goes
Detroit all the time.
So yeah, that was kind of like my intro to my first plants and how I got like all the way up to it. And you know, this was like a 10-15 year stretch I just explained there, you know, maybe even longer, 20 or something. I don't even know, 30, whatever. No, not 30, but you know, really long stretch there. And you know, I really got to see a lot of it evolve in like, I guess the Michigan scene. And, you know, by the time I got into breeding, you know, I was so heavily involved with like different strands and stuff. And I had a lot of buddies that were doing big things. I had family doing a lot of stuff. And, you know, one of the guys that I was really close with who got me into glass and making glass art and, you know, being really involved with breeding. I wasn't breeding at the time. He was the one who got me into breeding. He was a close buddy and he would see that I would, you know, be getting a lot of strands. I was getting, you know, because I started with those varieties, I just wanted to keep continuing, you know, getting more clones and or whatever to try different flavors out that I could run, you know, personally see from the plant aspect and all the way to the bud. And I met a lot of these older guys in Michigan. I mean, Michigan, I don't know what it is, but I swear like half of the people I meet are like literally like 60, 70, been doing this for a long time and just kind of doing their own thing. And they were giving me a bunch of cuts and I got to try a couple things. It wasn't until, I don't know, maybe later that first year I got into a cannabis cup and I got there late. The whole thing was over basically. And I'm over there like trying to get in. They were telling me I had to pay and like all this crazy stuff. And, you know, I got in there with my glass and everything and all the booths were closed. Nobody wanted to trade for glass or anything. And I was like, oh, shoot. But then I ran into Cali Connections is who they were. And it was either Swave or one of his like close buddies or whatever. Who I don't know if it was him or whatever. You know, he walked up to my glass, saw all this beautiful stuff, he said, and he goes, you know what, get whatever you want to his crew members. And he grabbed stuff for himself or whoever it was that was running the Cali Connections booth. They got a bunch of glass and stuff for me and gave me like a whole bag filled with just beans of all these different things they had made. And, you know, I brought them home and I was geeked up on them. I didn't even try to like breed or anything like that. I was just trying to pop my first seeds. And, it was a process. You know, I threw a lot into the ground that didn't go anywhere and I wasted a lot of good genetics. I know that right away. and whatchamacallit, after that, I was seeing that I got some plants like SFB that didn't grow really nice compared to the other ones. And I thought they were garbage and they ended up being really good. And that kind of started my hunt of like really checking things out closer and, you know, trying to do some breeding work. I ended up running into Rabbit Hippie down the line and he gave me some of my first seeds to breed with. It was in 98 or 1986.
He's up here.
BX3 skunk and double purple doja, black Russians. So yeah, and then I started my breeding work with them. I have people who do green houses outside. I try to feed them seeds so that way, you know, I can see them outside. me myself, I really have been only able to work in smaller areas my whole time with it. Unfortunately, this is like I've just kind of moved into a bigger area, and so I've really been doing small breeding and just kind of doing selections that way. So that way I could pop most of my seed and just kind of see the selections out, and then now I hope to do a little bit bigger of hunts, or I don't know, see things in a bigger scale.
Oh, Rabbit Hippie's up here. He's a mutual friend of it for a while. I know him somewhat. You know,
Yeah,
definitely know each other.
cool.
He's a friend of a friend, but he's definitely hunted down that Thin Mints.
Yeah, man.
He's the pheno hunter of the Thin Mints, man. That's a fucking great cut.
If you
And
ever hit,
also, you know B-Man as well? You know the
yeah.
B-Man cut of the cookies there?
Yep. That's another dude, I'm pretty sure. Or you're talking about the bee cookies there. That's
Yeah,
another
yeah,
close
yeah, yeah.
friend. Yep, that's another close friend. He's a good guy. Yeah, and if you ever have the chance to hang out with
Then
that,
Then of course, probably my friend JC.
probably mutually,
He would
and that's the thing, when I
he
was
he would be the he would be the center of the two. That's how I
okay.
know them both.
Oh wow, that's super cool. Small world, man. And like, I met, I was making a lot of Grateful Dead steelies. This old guy taught me how to make these glass pennants, and I was making them for a while. So I don't know. I got connected through Rabbit, through whatever circles on that end. And he was showing me the one he had from the original dude, and stuff like that. And man, if you ever get to chill with that guy, he is a trip and a half. Super awesome, super cool. Like he's really super knowledgeable and has had a lot of really great cuts come through his hand, and is really good at finding stuff. I mean, he didn't get to where he was at by some bullshit, I'll tell you that, man. He some of my best cuts that I've held for a long time, man, he was the one who hunted those down. And man, I'm grateful for anything he's put through my hands, because damn, dude, they are superior in a sense. Like, I've popped a bunch of seeds. I'll get a bunch of clones from a bunch of random people, and people will be like, "Yo, this is the creme of the creme," blah blah blah. And I'll put it up against like Strawberry Cough, which is a very old cut, and that Strawberry Cough will literally knock a bunch of things out of my grow. Super cool. I'm so happy those people. So that's really cool, man. And the bee cookie cut and him, man, he's super awesome, dude. I haven't met him maybe I have, and it's been a while. I just can't, I talked to him online and stuff, and he's super cool. And it just goes to show how like a lot of these Michigan cats know each other and stuff. Man, that's so cool on the small world there.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. Me and him have smoked out many a times.
Awesome.
Actually, the three of us. And man, me and the B man have that is one of the funniest guys to talk Canis. Well, I used to he is very one of those guys that he organics and preaches pH. He preaches his pH. And I've always been fucking like very seat up my pants on my grow. And he hated that. He hated that. Oh, we gotta be damn sit and have some beautiful dab sessions of that the bee cookies wax he'd always have, and just have some fucking very heated conversations on his end. I'd be like, calm down, brother.
That's so awesome. That's hilarious.
But oh man, he is an awesome guy, amazing grower. I've tried to get him to get on the show, but some of them great cats just don't like to be public, I guess. So I respect him for that. I respect it. I'm grateful to know him. So but definitely a fun guy. Definitely a fun guy.
I don't blame that too. A lot of people are doing their thing, and they've just been used to when I started with this whole deal, the last thing you do is tell anybody anything. So I don't blame that. And man, that's super awesome. Yeah, man. And the thing you touched on, organics and all that. I started with organics, and then I I got convinced that, oh man, what are you doing making teas? This is all poops and compost. What do you think you're doing? And I would like tell them, man, this is superior, blah, blah. And they'd be like, dude, just go get some bottles, blah, blah, blah. So I had buddies that worked at the, hydro stores, and they would, come over with like, those huge brand new boxes of like this or that nutrients and be like, yo, man, try this out or try this out. And eventually, I tried all these different nutrient companies, and I still, if I want to do salts, I'll do Jack's. And then if, and then do some supplements and things like that. And, or, if somebody tells me, hey, try this new product, I'll do some salt lines. But I'm where I'm at now, I kind of have to switch back to organics because it's a very limited kind of thing in this area. So organics is probably my best bet. Unfortunately, dab time is right.
So if you don't mind, I have to correct myself on this argument because it was so long ago that me and him had this conversation. It had to been like 210,
Right,
2010, right. Something like that.
Right.
And he is a cocoa peat grower. I remember he was actually buying large bales from Home Depot and mixing up his own bales of grow medium.
Right.
At the point. And that's why he was always arguing pH, because I was in organics at the time going, it should take care of itself.
Right,
you know
right.
what I mean? It's fucking organics. And I had that quite the opposite. Yeah, that was, but that's, I made sure and clarified this because I'm going to hit him up tomorrow and tell him we were talking about him to watch the show. So
yeah, and
I wanted to make sure and clarify before he watched.
Right. And the thing about that is, there are definitely, organic ways to get the pH and everything. And there's also microbes. I'm not a pro, and I'm pretty sure the microbes balance it out, but you should definitely be keeping track because in my area, if you're doing organics and you don't, the water is very hard here, very, very hard. So you would be putting metals into your organics for sure. So I could see where maybe pH would be some, and that's an argument in itself, So I'm not trying to get on that because I can see both sides easily. Oh, that's hilarious.
Well, yeah. And again, that was long ago, shit. Fucking.
Right.
I got 10, 12, 11 years experience on that conversation now.
Right.
But still, I think I was still pretty qualified at that point. But, and how do you know? It's one of those things. And things have changed with that area too.
Right.
Nowadays, man, there was a time where I was sitting in that very same seat going, man, I hope everybody's testing their shit because I'm worried about this Flint water, heavy metals developing in cannabis, and everybody looking at me like, what? I'm like, no, seriously, I'm worried about this because the plants usually takes in heavy metals, and even though we flush out, you know what I mean, heavy metals like that were being found in the Flint water would still be, in my opinion, caught up in the plant, no matter how many times you flush that shit out.
I look into a lot of the things a lot of breeders say because what you just said there is very, very true. What is this information? This information is information we've told each other and what's worked in our situation. So there's no correct answers. Now there's a lot more because science has been involved and people have taken this to quite the levels with the legal end of things coming together. But you're right, at the time, obviously, it was all well, I've tried this and I've tried that and this is what works and maybe you should try this. So I can definitely see that completely.
So what are you smoking on over there? I'm firing up too, so
fair enough. It's been a Blue Cookies, which that clone, man, has been being ran around here like crazy. Blue Cookies all day. And then it's a
I think I lost you there for a second, Cam. Could be me though. Cheers, everybody. Can you hear me? Can Chad hear me? Can anybody hear me? I obviously cannot. Come on back, Cannafari, whenever you are available. He did warn me that he had somewhat of bad internet connection, but he'll be back. He'll be back. Bud's hella good. Cheers and welcome to the show. I always appreciate seeing those new names. Comfortably known might be Miss Madam T. Cheers to you. Always a pleasure to see you in chat. Jason Einstone. T. Barrington, how you doing? John. We'll give him a minute. He'll be back. I'm sure he'll be back. It's been a great conversation thus so far too, man. I'm really enjoying this. I hope he's able to get a new connection and come back. Shredder 911, you're funny. So how you guys doing in chat? What are you smoking? Detroit River Rat? Cheers to you, Kazoo. Cheers, my man. I always dig hanging out with Chad. I actually like when I get to hang out with Chad here for a second. Hopefully his phone just went dead. Celeb, cheers. Or is that Cal B? Should I be saying that Cal B or is it Celeb? Cheers to you. Welcome to the show. So I am smoking on some of the American One's Godiva, which I am very much enjoying, to be honest with you. The waterboard shut that shit down. Could be. I doubt it though. It'll be back. It'll be back. Smoke and Grow Fraser Grim Glue. Oof. Man, that'd be some Brothers Grimm shit, man. I bet you that's good. Man. I'd like to have sample some of that myself. Automation is freedom. Cheers to you as well. What date was it that you wanted to come on, Automation, so I could put that in the book? I kind of just spaced that off till now. Please refresh my memory so I can put you in the book. Mother's Tongue, that's a fucking good one right there. Be Too Crazy for You. I grew that one out when it was first released as well. Pink Hash, Mother's Tongue gave me a beautiful fucking pink hash. Oh man, very good strain. I think I still got Mother Tongue seed somewhere from back then. Lexi, my girl Lexi, love you, girl. Prometheus Soil, how you doing? Smoking that purple plasma. Nice, that sounds good as well. Is it purple in flavor or is it purple altogether? It's just purple in the name. USC was wow. Oh man, what did I miss out on, BX Gunner? Tell me, who was the top fights tonight? I kind of been spacing that shit the last few weeks. Who fought? BX Gunner 81. Come on back, Cannafari. It was just getting good. Oh, 52 watching. Don't bail. He'll be back. I got a feeling he'll be back. Just found 3 males in that tester tent. Are you gonna keep them, Kazoo? Who's the main card tonight? Chad or BX Gunner? You need some plant testers, chronic runners. Oh, nice. They've been a good fight. Here's Cannafari. He's back. Cheers.
Did I return?
We're
Hello?
back. Hello.
Hey.
We're back, my friend. So I don't think I did I get what you were smoking on? I think that's right about the what you fell out there.
Okay. Yeah, smoking on some blue cookies, and it's mixed with a Tropicana cookies lemon pheno. Oddly, it's an interesting pheno. It was running around for a while, but that blue cookies really made the Tropicana pheno drop right off. So yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that blue cookies, and I've been smoking it now. It's really gassy, surprisingly. I do taste like a little bit of a blue kind of. I mean, it looks more of like a blueberry, but man, it's super gassy. It's really, really nice flower. I'm surprised. Might have to bring it into the breeding, since it's, I've seen it in such scales now. I'm like, wow, you know.
So I just kind of want to rewind a little bit back to, the beginning. The beginning phase is not like the beginning kind of growing stages when you were talking about there. It's kind of a couple of things just because of the locale that kind of uh, make me smile is one I kind of briefly mentioned a cat named Al. I used back in the day that used to get some smoke. That was back when like it was stepping up from the brickweed to the better
Okay.
bud.
Okay.
And we'd give Al some cash, and he'd fucking run down to the fucking Detroit area and score us some fucking good weed. And
Yep.
Al was kind of hippie-esque. He had the big fro. He actually knew the dude from the Black Stripes.
Really?
The lead, yeah, because he's from the Detroit area too. And Al used to fucking rock, sit around in the hippie, guitar
Yeah,
sessions
okay.
and rock
Okay.
out with a
Okay.
lot of people.
Right.
And so that kind of reminded me of that. And then you were saying the drum sessions, and which I
Yep.
think are amazing, man. The energy that goes around in them drum sections are fucking.
Oh,
If you haven't been around one of these guys, you should at least check out one in your life, because that rhythm, that energy that goes around in them drum sessions are amazing. Am I
oh,
not right there, Kenna?
oh yeah, dude. That was the best way to put it. I mean, I remember, I'm just this like, sophomore or freshman up to like my junior year, I'd be going and they would meet like every Wednesday, this little drum circle in the back of the alleys where all this graffiti was and stuff. And they'd smell like shit. And first of all, and that was the funniest thing. They were literally like dirty hippies, and all of them would have these bands and stuff, and just come out, and there would be so many of them, and they would, multiple drum circles just ultimately playing, and all of them would have stories going on and talking about. It was just like this crazy little world of people. Just, I don't know. And I remember specifically this one time. This band came up, as always, and these guys came out and they're like, "Yeah, man, we go around selling glass." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, and they're like, "Oh yeah, glass pipes." I'm like, "What?" Like, and I had one, and I'd seen a couple. This is like my early on. I definitely ended up seeing a bunch of pipes, but this was when I was like younger off, and like, they open up their van, and it's just loaded with bongs and pipes and all this shit in there, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And they're like, "Yeah, dude, it gets annoying trying to sleep around with all the glass." I'm like, "Dude, what?" Like, so funny. You're definitely right about them hippie circles, man. And they would always have some fire herb and this and that. You'd be able to smoke on, all this great stuff.
Most definitely, most definitely. It's a fun circles right there too. I've had a fun weird path, but yeah, I didn't follow the dead, but I kind of hung out in a lot of them type of circles back in them days, and definitely experimented with a lot of psychedelics back in the day. But a lot of fun crowds, man. Then I still lean to that type of crowd myself. I think that's one of the backbones of the cannabis community is that type of, people. And I think that's what I love so much about the cannabis community is that very same type of vibe that I got from way back then. And that type of atmosphere.
I agree, and that was the thing, that little exposure as being like in high school, as I got older and was going to a lot of the, for Detroit, it was techno and, electronic scene was like, early 90s. That's what it was here. And, I was going to things like that. And it was weird to me because I didn't know anything about jam bands or the Grateful Dead or anything. I grew up foreign, I grew up, Middle Eastern, so I didn't even really know English too well. So, when I was going to a lot of these electronic shows and stuff, I was having a great time, but, a lot of them would be thrown on Native American reserves and all this different stuff. And I'd go to like festivals. And I remember, the first guy, that old guy who taught me how to, blow glass, he kind of introduced me into this technique he was doing and showed me the light of like, the Grateful Dead and just like jam bands and how like a lot of the music from the 70s alterating up to, what I was going to, which was like, electronic stuff was all a connection of their way of, doing festivals. And now it's turned into this whole thing. And, you bring up, how the cannabis was involved with their kind of culture, and it sure was. That old guy, he was like 80 when I met him, man. Like 70 something, and he had been traveling with them, and he'd seen a lot, and he taught me everything about that. And I started to really see the light of jam bands and things like that. And all of it's good, whatever you like's good. I don't blame people for not liking the Grateful Dead or this or that. I wouldn't have known them if the guy didn't mentor me, didn't bring them up. So it's a whole thing. And he showed me that culture, brought me into that culture, and I got to really see that whole thing. And it really showed me the power of chem dog, I'll tell you that. I really got to smoke some of the super fire chem dog like all the time, skunks, like a lot of Hawaiian, a lot of all this different stuff. And I just remember being stoned off my ass. And you're right, getting that exposure to other things, and getting trippy, and just all of it. And I was making art the whole time. So for me, as I would try a lot of strands or all of it, I would see how I felt making art on all the different stuff. And like growing with all of it. It was a fun exposure. I still enjoy all of it, and I keep all of it a part of my culture, as it, a lot of people don't really look into jam bands as much anymore because, electronics in the music industry have really taken over. So, instruments kind of are not, but there's still people out there, pushing them and all of that. And, it's just whatever you like. And, that's the beautiful thing about cannabis is it brings all different types of people together, all different types of people together. People who don't, like just, I can't even, that's the thing, cannabis will bring two people together that wouldn't hang out together in, a different setting if it wasn't, if they want to, smoke a J together or whatever. So yeah, it's all the, connections and the correlation of bringing it all together. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably lagging on my side. It's, yeah.
No, I hear you. Most people are saying that, it's all smooth. It sounds smooth on my end. So we'll just roll with it. So I want to say shout outs to you, much respect. I hope that, through no matter where life takes you, no matter where cannabis takes you in the breeding, that you keep nurturing that artistic side of yourself, even in the glass, aspect of your career there, that it takes, you have to see the piece before you can, you know what I mean, pick up any glass. You have to have an idea to vision. Right. And I honestly, in this day and age, that's an ace in your hole, in your hand there, brother, because that's where a lot of people fuck up in life, to be honest with you. As people get older, they tend to lose that ability, the creativity, to be able, the imagination, the artistic side of them. And when they lose that, I believe they lose the ability to kind of push themselves forward. I'm a big person that believes in manifestation, for one thing. And that's one of the keys in that is you have to see it, and in anything, carpentry, hey, you have to see the house before you can build it. You know what I mean? But and anywhere you have to see the dream clear as a bell. And as an artist, glass blower, you obviously have that ability. So no matter where life takes you now, you always please continue to nurture that side.
Hey man, that is a blessing right there, man. I those are very beautiful words. I mean, shoot, man, you nailed so many beautiful points that I really cherish. For you to see all of that, it makes me see that you're into that same kind of deep connection, and a lot of people are, and it's seeing it more with it. We're all human beings living this life experience, and we can be very dull and go every day just get up, go to work, get up, go to work, but if you step out every day of that little comfort zone and try to really think about things more and just like whatever, and try to really you have your own mind to play with, and work on things and really talk to yourself and grow with yourself and grow with other people, and that whole thing. So that kind of thing keeps trickling on, and cannabis is one of those friends that is there to keep you creative and keep you your mind moving and growing, and all this kind of aspect. And like that's a very key thing you touched on there, is keeping that creative and energy aspect alive. When let's say you're waking up and you have to water today, look at those ladies and tell them, hey man, you guys are awesome, you make this thing possible, you make me possible, this and that. Or when you go to work and you can clock in or whatever, you're like, what, this shit sucks, but it makes my life move. When you're at your whatever you have for a home, and all this different stuff, it's great to have anything. We all work to get what we have, and keeping ourselves active and alive and creative and full of energy, and just like everything that makes a human awesome is like the whole aspect to that human experience. And when I'm thinking about seeds and strands and all this stuff, and it's not about money or anything, it's about getting what I think is good, making a bunch of beans of it and trying to get it out there, because I want other people to enjoy beans or whatever, and think that I had a rough time getting clones and all these good things and meeting all these scary people, and like I could tell you a lot of horror stories. It's not all great and dandy, and it sucked the whole way. And like like I was in a lot of terrible situations, like really worried most of the time. So as I got into this down the line, I wanted to make things easier for other people getting into it. And glass itself, I definitely, when it comes to teaching people or getting people into it, I really try to show them the light, because when I was getting into it, it sucked, it wasn't easy, and all of it. So and that's, it shouldn't be rough on each other. Humans should be able to work with each other and show each other things, and not get mad because whatever. And that's somebody, you get into genetics or this or that, and people get mad about this and that. Well, it's like, well, we have all this great stuff, we should really share it.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And that's, exactly the environment I that's the type of environment that I try to encourage around here in the wormhole. That's the type of that's the attitude we have in the wormholes, is that we have conversations. We may disagree and grow styles, but we should be able to hear each other out. You know what I mean? As growers, it should be fun. I had one of my favorite conversations was with shoots. Give me a second. There's been so many 300 plus.
Wow,
It's not Medifit. Damn, I know I probably just fucked that up.
that's okay though. I mean, I'm sure you'll.
But we're sitting there talking, and he said, "All right, what's your argument?" And I looked at him. I said, "There's no argument here. We're having a conversation." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm listening to your points. Hopefully, you'll listen to mine, and you know what I mean. Neither one of us have to decide or argue our points. This is and it definitely changed the tone of the conversation. But that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? We should be able to hear each other out and pull out the good points. Medically fit. Thank you, Jason Ashstone. That's the second time you saved my ass tonight. Medically fit was
Right.
on, and we were having that discussion.
No, the thing about that is, we're all trying to do the respect to the plant, and when it comes into our situation, maybe that was whatever growth style you were given or shown or you felt was like, and you started that way, or whatever it is that you're fighting about that style or whatever it is. You brought yourself to that point. The other person you're fighting brought themselves to that point. So somewhere down the agreement, somebody's got to realize, well, hey man, we both got into this differently. We both see it differently. And guess what? It's both working for us. We both respect the plant. Is your shit green? Is it fire at the end? Does it taste great? Does it do everything great? Well, grats, because that's what it really comes down to. It doesn't really come down to, yo, I'm doing this better than you, you're doing that better than me, this and that. This whole competition thing that really kind of takes over people's mindset, I think kind of destroys a little bit of like what makes it beautiful. And the thing that makes it beautiful is we are all doing this differently than each other and it's working. Could you imagine like everybody getting apples and then being like, yo, we're gonna all grow apple trees, but we're gonna do it all differently from each other, and then really being successful in all the different ways? That'd be such a beautiful thing to be like, yo, I did this and it was different and it worked, and I did that and it worked, and this and that. It would be like a big like, wow, great thing. But no, in our world, it's no, I'm doing this better, I'm doing that better, and it shouldn't be that way. And I get it. Some people really, maybe get more weight, or maybe this or that. It smells better, it comes out better, it's easier, or all this. But all it comes down to is it green the whole way through? Does it come out looking great? Did it smoke and taste and do what it needed to? Did it not, like, meant, or healthily, did it damage you? No, good, because that's the things that are going to matter, more than how it was done, at least in my eyes.
Oh hell no! I like you, brother. I like you. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's exactly the way I do say it most of the times. You know what I mean? It is exact. I argued that point just like it couldn't have been 8 nights ago. Same thing where somebody was on. We were discussing weight and yield and all that, and I'm like, it ain't about that. It's medicine, and it's medicine for me. Just like you're saying, being there in the garden is very therapeutic for me, and spending all that great time with my plants is I should be paying somebody else for that experience, to be honest with you. And then when it comes to harvest, as long as it's a good medicine that I enjoy and my patients enjoy, I'm not looking to fucking get rich on this shit. I'm looking to make people healthy and happy and, be able to do what I love. That's it. That's it. That's all I want to do. Plain and simple. It isn't about, once it gets to that other level, it's just frustrating and it kind of burns it out for me. But for me, it's just like you said, it's the experience, it's the quality of the medicine, and making, people happy with what you do, bottom line.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. And like, you're in such a good seat to be able to do it. And you've got such a calm personality, and you keep it really level. I like that. Because a lot of people are going to come through here and say a bunch of different ways of whatever they think is right. And you know what? All of it is probably right. There's no wrong way unless your shit is dying and not going well. So mad respects, and it's not even all of us. People been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years or whatever the fact. And they are the ones who dialed this in, figured it out, and we figure out things too. I'm not saying we don't, but all of the connection of all of us figuring this out as a whole has brought us to this point. And that's a beautiful thing, really. Most plants are not, there's only, there is, most plants are not male and female, and cannabis is, and it doesn't have to be, you can breed without, and not many plants do have both sexes, and cannabis does. And it has a history that you can trace back very, very far. I can literally think of strands that I've found through research, not in my hands, but on the internets and stuff, where they were strands that, you know, were going around in the 1400s, and you know, they would populate full areas as they would conquer them, because, you know, the cannabis would do so good for the civilizations. And, you know, even, you know, all ships at the time were made out of hemp. You know, all the fibers, all, even the wood would be made out of hemp, because and they would carry barrels of hemp seed in their ship, because if they ever crashed anywhere and their boat was destroyed, they would have to, you know, rebuild the ship, and that would require growing hemp. And they would, you know, carry barrels of this hemp, and, you know, so they obviously had all kinds of, you know, seeds that they used for smoking, I would assume, and all of it. And you know, they, you know, you even go to some of the royal gardens and some of these, I mean, we can't go to them, but I mean, if you hear about or look into some of these royal gardens that some of these countries and colonies have, you know, they'll have, you know, specific cultivars of cannabis or different things they've held on through all the different times that, you know, stay in the royal gardens or this or that. It's really crazy to see, you know, what this plant's history has to offer. And, you know, a lot of what we know about came through hippie trails and, you know, the 70s and whatever, through, you know, people going there, you know, coming into Europe with their backpack and traveling all the way down to India and collecting any seeds through, you know, villages and stuff, bringing that back and bringing them into breeding programs. Or you could think, you know, some of these original banks like Neville's and stuff like that, and the farmers who are, you know, getting those catalogs and, you know, keeping those breeds alive.
So you referenced the blueberry from back in the day. That one kind of raised my ear as well. Uh, Funny little side note on the blueberry. That's when I talk about one of my growing experiences. It's getting started. Is when I started getting the good bud around me that was really good. Both strains that you were talking about. It's kind of funny that you brought both. That's why. What was he grew out the blueberry that was amazing in the bubble gum, and so that kind of, and you know what's funny about that is this cat, they was one of the people that actually kind of I learned to grow from a little bit, and actually kind of jump started me. I kind of got tired of paying that top dollar and it was killing me. And this is the funny part of this story is this cat actually paid his way through medical school growing cannabis and then became a doctor.
Yeah.
And he grew them two strains right there. So I always thought they should, to me, crack me the fuck up, because then I later in life, as you know, our paths drifted and he became a doctor and all that good shit. I always wonder and look back if, you know, he's the cannabis doctor or if he's, you know, if he went full doctor. You know what I'm saying?
What is he doing? Is he doing some huge like cannabis testing like for medical patients or something now, or something like that? You know, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, like, you know, that's the thing too, you know, like some of the older guys I met, you know, they were like straight professionals. You would never think that they had any grows. And I'd be like, you know, I'd be talking to them all the time and this and that, and then they would just be like, all right, it's time, you know. And I'd be like, what? And then they would like, you know, whatever. And some of these guys had big positions and big corporate, you know, whatever. If it was like Chrysler or GM or whatever, you know, over here in Michigan, and I'd be like, dude, what the heck? Like, yeah, it's funny you bring up the blueberry. You know, I got really upset when I lost the blueberry that I really loved. And, you know, I remember, you know, such good blueberry. And then, you know, I've traded more glass for seed than I could ever imagine. And I got really lucky at one point. I was trading a bunch of land. I got a lot of land races. I don't know, I was doing trades with people from India, like all over. And I had a lot of land races to offer. And I ended up being able to trade DJ Short a bunch of landrace for landrace, and I got a bunch of his Mexican sativas that he used to make the blueberry and the purple, and all kinds of stuff. And I haven't really been able to dig into them like I wish I would have, because I've never really had the space. But yeah, I was able to give him a bunch of glass pipes and some land races to work with. I was watching or hearing a podcast he did maybe a year ago, and he had mentioned getting that stuff from yeah, so it was pretty cool. I I wish you would have gave me some blueberry though. Kind of like what?
So what was the original run kind of like there? If you don't mind us you kind of briefly touched on it, but if we could, show us a little snapshot of, what it looked like, what was the humble beginning like back then?
You're saying pull up some images if I could of some of this stuff.
Oh, no. Just kind of tell us, size pots, medium,
Oh yeah. So
kind of light, all that good shit. You know what I mean?
When I first started, somebody brought me the dude who got me into the stuff brought me those cones. He brought me 2 or 3 1,000-watt hood, things, and we grabbed some 2x4 and just started building. And I got this organic mix that I originally started with, and you brought up subcool, which was really cool because when I first started, I was like, oh man, I'm just starting this, maybe I should do it organic, like I'm so amped. I was I was like, I was going to a lot of festivals and stuff, and I was really getting into myself, and I felt like the connection between nature and the plants would be a lot funner if it was organic.
So, yeah, I definitely started off in the organic kind of, realm myself, but it had drifted for multiple reasons. Actually, the where I was growing was the reason I got off organics. But so what was your like? What did you improve on after that first grow? How'd you go from A to B? How'd you progress? Did we lose you, Canna? Hello. He'll be back. He'll be back. Cheers, everybody, to the 66 currently watching, down from the 70 that I just looked at. 65. Holy shit. Who we got in chat? Collectimus 420. I've been trying to keep up with the hellos. 808 rooting prospects. Of course, Chad Westport, man, my respect to you. GR420 community videos. Hopefully, you guys are following them guys as well and checking out their Seeds for Life giveaway they got going over there. Don't follow them for free fucking seeds. Follow them because they're a great group of guys over there dropping some knowledge. But the free seeds is a good draw. I gotta give you guys that. Chris Martinez, welcome. Always pleasure to see you. What else we got here? T. Barrington. He'll be back, man. I've had a lot of fun with this episode so far. Who else we got here? Automation is freedom. I don't believe I've had a chance to say hello to you yet. Cheers to you. Dozer, what in the heck is that symbol before your name? I can never find it when I'm trying to pull up the easy way in chat, I guess. There. Of course, Kazoo. Tons and tons of respect for my friend Kazoo. Can of health and happiness. Cheers to you as well. Of course, Johnny Can the Seed holding it down in chat. Twisted Roots. Cheers to you, my friend. Always glad to see you. XX Elite. GPXX. I gotta try to figure out what the hell that one is. Cheers to you. Dutch Grows 420 as well. So, when our guest comes back, do you have any questions for Cannafari when he pops back in? If you do, please drop those in chat and tag me so I do see them. Anytime you guys do have a chat or questions while the interview is going, please tag me so I get that little red box that pulls my attention over to the right hand side where I can see you guys' questions and comments. Always makes it a little bit easier. Aldridge 25, cheers to you as well. Travis, Wells, always a pleasure to see you as well. What else we got here? So how was you guys' Saturday? Mine was overall pretty good. I got some trimming done. Plan to try to get some trees. Chad got me there. Burning trees, Maine. Cheers to you. Got some trimming done. Hopefully I get a little bit of trimming done later as well. I still got some of them girls to do transplanting up. I bought some M3 mix. I do need to, I think I might run an M3 times Detroit side by side just to see, just to see what's up there. Why are only half of the tents full? Harvest shredded 911. I am pulling shit down and I need to restock. I have a little bit of stuff hanging there. As you can see behind me, I've got a little stuff hanging there. Got the herbs now machine drying as well. And I have, I need to finish cleaning out the tent shredder 911. The question is, why aren't them fucking tents empty, Eagle? That should be the question. Shredder 911, to be honest with you. Excuse me. Man, I need some coffee and or some of this grapefruit juice, but I'm going with coffee first. Shout out to you, Tal. Always a pleasure hanging out with the American one. Crystals. I don't do half as good as Tal does, though. I don't do it half as good. Wasting power. Yes, I agree. But like I said, they should be full. And the other reason with that is Shredder 911 is they're all hooked into that there box up somewhere there, probably just behind the flag. There is an 8-gang box up there, and that run and that run over there, that tent are all on that timer. And then there are another run back there that are on a whole another 8-gang timer. And the veg, total separate power supply as well to keep everything as safe and efficient as possible. Or I tried to. Man, that coffee is doing a number on my teeth. Damn you, Starbucks. Cannafari's back. Thank goodness. Cheers, and thank goodness you're back, my friend.
How long was I gone?
Not too long, to be honest with you. You were just getting ready. You were just talking about your first grow there, and I was asking, how you how you progress from your first grow to the second grower.
Okay. Did you hear about the subcool mixes and me going to the little bird feed shop?
Well, I definitely heard about the subcool, but I can't say I remember the bird feeder shop.
All right, that's fine. I was going to this bird feed shop, had all the amendments to kind of do like a subcool mix that this guy taught me, and then after a while, I had a buddy who was working at a grow store, and he started telling me, "Oh man, you're growing with coops, man. What the heck is that? You should try some of these salts out." And I was telling him, I really like the organics, and he made me switch just to try it out, and he was giving me free nutrients, so it was like, sure. So I tried like every company you could think of. We could list all the companies, and I'll tell you my experience with them. I tried them all. I definitely got to try them all. And then after a while, I was only working in small areas, so I would just make rooms specific to my breeding. So I've made hundreds of strands, low key, like way more strands than I'll ever whatever. So I'm trying to just start releasing them slowly, kind of with some of the newer stuff first, kind of get my name out there a little bit, because I don't know, start with things people are really interested in, and then kind of tell them a little bit more of some more unique, rare stuff, and kind of spread the table. I really like to keep it open variety, like a lot of different options versus, oh, I only work in gas or flavor or things like that.
What made you, actually go down the breeding
Okay.
aspect of it?
Fair enough.
Because when we start growing, it's usually because we're trying to lessen the economic blow. You know what I mean? Or there's some
Right.
of us that did it for financial reasons that became medical later on.
Right.
Thank
So
goodness for the Michigan medical program.
I will say yes, sir, my man. Yeah, I mean, I have a family that, and some really old time friends that I've seen the production route and that whole aspect. For me, it was, I still have my day job, so I don't really need to kind of, you know, produce production outside of myself usually, or who I need to supply for medical reasons. So, I don't really, get to see things on a massive scale. So that's why I pass around cuts to try to see beauties do their thing on a beautiful end for big time people. I brought up Rabbit Hippie and their crew, and I also brought up my buddy who was working at the hydro store. Their crews definitely did a lot of production scales things and stuff like that. And, they would, be asking me, hey, man, you're looking for cuts all the day. You're breeding, find some stuff. Here's this, work with this, and things like that. And, they would give me a lot of cuts, and I would lose things because I didn't know what I was doing. And that's right off the bat where, they would give me cuts being like, hey, I'm giving you this cut because if I ever need it back, I want you to hold on to it. So if anything happens to me, you got the cut. And, because they, they're doing production stuff. So, they deal with bugs, they deal with things at a huge scale where like me on my small scale, I can really control a lot of that on the smaller scale at the time and things like that. So I was getting a lot of cuts, and then I got really into a lot of networks where people were doing seed trades and they were trading seed for seed, but I didn't have seed because it was a little before my breeding era. And when I did breed, I wasn't making enough to really share too much. I'd make, 30 or 40 or 100 seeds of a strand and kind of work with that and things like that. So when I got into this network of trading seeds, I was able to trade for glass, and people would give me bulk seeds of so many varieties. And at the time, I was like, oh, I want land races. I'd pop some land races and be like, oh man, I can't do land races. And I didn't know. And then I would get oh, mango, and I'd be like, man, this is literally like so indica and like leafy. And it's like, well, yeah, that's a freaking 20-30-year-old strand where that was what it was, and things like that. So, I had to really learn about all this different stuff. And as I was making a lot of seed and stuff, and I had all these strands I was making, I was just sitting there like, man, what am I doing with all this stuff? So, I had, I was feeding people with seeds, just to run their stuff. And I got a buddy of mine into breeding too, who's no longer with us. His company name was Beyond Top Shelf. He was another Michigan cat who was doing some breeding at the time, and we started kind of at the same spot because we were trading a lot of cuts. And I ended up meeting the rabbit dude, and he gave me the Black Russian stuff. And I would be going to his spot a lot, and he would be telling me a lot about the different genetics. So between all that, we were really trying to push things out. And I was mostly making seeds for myself. And then I was under the handle of Cannabis Safari for a long time. And then one of my buddies, one of the glass blowing guys who works with the Stank Breath crew, who just recently won a bunch of Michigan Cups. They've been doing some kick-ass work. I love that cut. But going back on, he was like, oh, slap it together, and then it turned into Cannafari. And my whole original idea and what I'm trying to push here is, we're in our little grows and stuff, and we do, what we do or whatever. And a lot of this stuff, it's every company or person out there pushes their seed out. They name their strands. They have this whole idea, and my thing is you're looking at this like safari of cannabis, and it's all these different varieties of plants that we enjoy, and we're literally hunting them, from seed and trying to find what we think's the best, or getting them from each other, taking photographs of them, and really just like having this whole like connection with them. And to me, I really like that kind of vibe. And some of my favorite companies when I first started, looking into like a lot of, I was looking at strands for a long time, but then I really started looking into the breeders themselves and what they were doing. And, I saw, so many different companies. And one of them that I really liked was, Alien Genetics. They were naming it after all these alien strands and all this cool stuff, and just kind of being free with it versus being like, this is OG Kush. This is, from this area Kush, or, whatever. So, and that's kind of going back to the artist or, creative aspect. I'm just trying to have a little more fun with it, get a little more creative with it, and unique in a sense, and, push out more art with it. So, as people kind of get their gear and whatever, they can kind of have a little deeper connection. And, I want to really, do pheno hunts where, people get packs of, we're doing the rhino at White Rhino Cross Expedition, and whoever, had the best feedback and, share the best pheno back or whatever is going to get an awesome glass rhino rig or something, cool stuff like that. It's a little different than the norm. And, I want to get other people involved. Like now, we got Eagle here and you've had me on. So, I want to do a giveaway with you, and then, later down the line, I'm going to try to get some gear into your hands immediately, but maybe down the line, you'll find something you like or whatever, and, who knows where it goes from there, and, my whole thing is the community aspect is a beautiful part, because, you don't just get a pack of seeds and it's there, you have to still hunt them, and, you debate if you keep the clone or not and all that. You really do build a connection with, that cultivar or strand.
That's awesome. I'd be honored to run some stuff. Just if anything to help support another Michigan breeder, because I like to help out. We talk about that a lot. And helping each other out here in the community, and nothing better than out. Man, Michigan grows. There is some amazing fire that has come out of Michigan, bred out of Michigan, and I'd like to see more fire come out. And they're talking about how impressive your list is so far, anyway. So
Yeah, let me give you some feedback on this. So the Pug's Breath was a clone that was given to me a long time ago, 5-6 years ago or something now. I don't know, so long ago. And I didn't know much about it, ran it. It was the first plant that turned black in my room ever when I was collecting and doing stuff. And I was like, man, this thing's off. And it smoked fruity pebble gas, like so awesome. And I loved that clone for a long time. I remember, the last couple of years I had with it, I was doing as much breeding as I could because I loved the clone so much. And then I ended up, Romer, who made the Pug's Breath, he got it originally from Gage Green, and there was a lady who made the strand. I ended up, through a mutual friend now, got a pack from her of the Pug's Breath and was able to pull a male and some stuff. And it's at F3. Yeah, it's been fun to work with. The Dosido was another line that was given to me. I did meet, Fletcher, and he does have some glass of ours. And the Dosido I got from, it's a number 22 crossed to, I think, number 4. And I also had the Dosido clone for a long time. And yeah, I did a bunch of breeding with that. And I really, really, really loved that OGKB smoke for a long time. So I wanted to really bring out a lot of OGKB crosses all at once. So the Dosido and Pug's Breath both have the OGKB as a mother parent there. And if you guys want more information on that clone or all of that, there's so much information out there now. And it was a little, for a while, not out there, but it is now. And it's really beautiful smoke. The plants are a little tricky at times, but I've been trying to breed them for easier growth and stuff. But man, once they get out of that little trickly seed stage because the OGKB aspect, they grow just as normal as anything else with very beautiful characteristics that are interesting. So yeah, I work those strands easier to grow and things like that, and then cross them around to some of my favorite clones as you see on the list here. And yeah, I mean, I wanted to really hit a lot of aspects with it. They're all really limited, very limited. They're all 5 packs and cheap because I want to get them out there versus anything. As I add to them and do things like that, I'll kind of make bigger drops. So it's the whole thing. Yeah, it's really fun just to see it all go out there.
Major General 420 Army was asking in chat there, how many seeds do you have to pop in your opinion to get that keeper pheno?
Like 2 or 3. I mean, there's no point of popping 10 or 15 or something. I generally try to pop 4 when I have my own seed packs, so that way I can just kind of look at a smaller pool. Because I try to if I wanted to pop 40 for breeding, that's great and all for myself, but a lot of people only get a 10 pack, so you kind of got to look at it in their world. So sometimes I'll pop 4 seeds and just check something out, and usually most of the time I should have only popped maybe 1 or 2, because now I have to choose between 2 or 3 phenos that are so identical and both of them are so good, and you want to keep them both, and you're limited, or you want to try more types. So it's a whole thing. So yeah, I wouldn't pop too many, and that's the thing. I'm trying to keep this stuff a little more available. You get 1 pack at this. It's not a very expensive price, and then if you were to want to pop all 5, and most of my packs, they have 5 really good seeds that you can break with your hands, and then I'll throw some extras that are not so perfect seeds. So you usually get 7 or 8 or 6 seeds in a pack, anyways. But either way, if you just pop a couple, you'd be able to see, pick something out really good, or you can pop them all and know that there's probably going to be a little more available if you wanted more. You didn't really lose an arm and a leg for the first pack, so I just try to keep it really easy and cheap. Sweet and sour, dude. What's the lineage on that? I don't think I've released any of my diesel crosses yet, but I do have some. If you were looking for something more diesel, I would go for the Mama recrosses. The Grateful Brother is a sour diesel Happy Brother cross to the pugs. I do have some sweet and sour diesel seeds that I'm going through, but I've been trying to go look into more of the sour end of stuff, because I've collected a lot of sour diesel from people, but it was sour diesel from this company, sour diesel from that company, sour diesel from this old guy. So I'm kind of just labeled them sour diesel line A, sour diesel line B, sour diesel line C. Did certain amount of phenos of all of them, and just kind of check them all out and see which one's the most diesel in my eyes. I've definitely smoked a fair share of fucking diesel. I'll tell you that much.
So let me politely stop you here and give you some props right off the bat. Right off the bat, I'd like to give you some props, because anybody that's kind of watched, that's one thing I like. One of the few things I super really enjoy about being on air every day is, and shit that I say is on record. You know what I mean? it's easily cross-referenced. So there's no bullshit in what I'm saying here is, and I've said this for a long time, is when I look at your list, your lineup here, one of the things I give you some mad props for is automatically one of the things I've been arguing for a very long time, and that is phase of breeding on the pack. I want to know right off the bat lineages, phase of breeding. Are you selling me F1s, F2s, F3s, F4s, stability. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
a lot of people don't offer that shit. So when I seen your lineup and I seen phase of breeding, I went, and we haven't even gotten deep into, breeding talk. I thought to myself, ah, you know what I mean? That little sigh of relief of, some quality working. So, shout out to you on that aspect there.
Yeah,
So,
thanks, man. It means a lot to me. It's hard to say that every seed you're gonna make is gonna be perfect. It's like breeding is like it's work. Just like anything else. And like a lot of people, they slap things around, and yeah, so do I. Everybody does. But I'm not releasing everything I work on because I really want to make sure my crowd's happy. And every time you get a pack of seeds from me, I throw in, some of my older crosses, Black Russian or Comrade Pilot or Comrade Gold or, Tie Rush or Perfectly, all these different strands that I know do good. So if somebody has a problem with that little measly 5-pack they just got a 15-pack of Black Russian that they know they're going to be able to make work or this or that. And like things like that. So I try to really hook it up. And then if somebody does have a problem, like, hey, dude, tell me right now what's going on. I want to take care of you because, that's the thing. The community is big. I don't want somebody to, get really excited. They just got, one of these really awesome strands. Something goes wrong and then they're out. That sucks, man. I've been there so many times. That's what got me into breeding.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. The only place where so far that my opinion differs from you, and again, this is conversation that don't mean shit. You know what I mean? I respect your opinion. We're all entitled to whatever. I'm not trying to preach my opinion to anybody, but this is where my opinion differs on the. I heard you say you encouraged a lot of the breeding, and I do too, to an extent. If you're going to be serious about it, I encourage it. You know what I mean? If you're going to keep it to yourself and it's for sustainability.
Yeah, I should have more little, make seeds for yourself more than for the public is a kind of a good thing too. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I've seen people, push seeds out that, they should have probably maybe taken a look at. And, it's happened, I've had a strand go out to the public and, it was next to like a cherry pie, and that cherry pie is known to throw natters out there, and it got into like a strand a little bit, and all I did was just hook up anybody who had problems because I had more than half people who didn't have problems, but the couple people who did, I was like, whoa, like you're the only people that happened to, but I'm still gonna figure it out for you and hook you up, and I sure did, and I found out it was probably a grower problem versus anything, but hey, I'll take the day, I'll help someone out, it's okay. We can figure out what's going on in your room. It's not a problem,
And this is the one that, so these are part of my arguments here about the, the careful breeding programs, and just if you're going to breed for yourself. Well, if you're going to just play, sustainability, keep it to yourself at least until you've got something that you feel great. But then again, when you're labeling that, please, label it appropriately. This is my version of the sour diesel. Hopefully you've got some better information of this. This is my version of such and such a sour diesel, and they're pretty much at this point their rendition of somebody else's sour diesel of their sour diesel, just kind of like you said, because things are, this is where I'm kind of falling out on the breeding encouragement side. And again, this is where if you're doing it proper, like you seem to be, fucking balls to the wall, do what you got to do, because you seem to be doing things right. But this is for the most part, and we talked about this with clones, kind of the honorable passing of clones, and to be able to check back and be able to go, I know that's Eagle's cut of 9-pound hammer because he got it. Check back with him because he got it from here. This person, they got it from them, and he should know.
That was,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing here. That was so key. You know, you get a clone and you don't know where it's from or this or that. You know, you put that out there, you might have just ruined up the whole lineage, this and that. You know, and that's the thing. You know, you ask me about any of these cuts I have, I will literally tell you the whole background down to the teeth because it's important. I think, you know, if you're gonna grab a cut from somebody, ask them all they know about it. If you're getting seeds from somebody, ask them all they know about it. You know, I was getting seeds from a lot of these old guys, and all they could tell me is, you know, this is that, whatever it says it is. And I'm like, that's all you can tell me. And, you know, I'd pop them and I'd be like, what the fuck is this? And like all this different shit. And like, you know, there was a whole like curve that I had to find out. And, you know, that's the thing. If you're not, you're right. If you're not willing to go find out about the genetics, don't do other people injustice favors, you know, like, somebody just asked, oh, you know, is that Docido males or pug's male? You know, I got everything really specifically listed. You know, if it's crossed to pug's breath, it says it's crossed to pug's breath. If it's crossed to Docido, it says Docido F4OP, which is an open pollination between two males I couldn't decide between because, you know, when I got to the F4 part of the Docido breeding, you know, I narrowed it down to, you know, you could pop 5 seeds, 10 seeds, a bunch of seeds. You're only going to see these 2 phenoms. And that's really, you know, a thing, you know, and people always ask me, hey man, why aren't you releasing anything you got from the ChemDog crew? Like, you know, those guys, how come you don't, release any ChemDog crosses? Or how come you don't release any of the Starfighter work you do? Well, you know, ChemDog, you know, was a bag seed. And, you know, if you don't know about ChemDog, you don't know how to grow it right, you know, it's going to hurt my and it will throw natters. They won't, you know, seed up your room, but there'll be natters there. And you're going to come back at me. So yeah, nobody's getting these ChemDog crosses. I'm sorry. And like, you know, the Starfighter, I got it out to F3 and, you know, the males were still, you know, throwing balls out in the veg. To me, that's not a true autoflower. An autoflower can stay in veg 24/7 and never show its sex. To me, at least, as you know, that's what I've been taught. So, you know, I'm going to make sure when I'm you know, doing my breeding and release maybe Starfighter, you know, it's at F4, it's not showing anymore, but I'm going to make sure because, you know, I want people to, you know, pop the seeds and have it be true to the description and all this different stuff because that's what made me like things down the line. That's what I want people to, you know, like things down the line. You best believe when I hand, you know, packs of these to, you know, rabid hippies crew or, you know, those guys who run those stores or this or that, you know, we're going to do huge scale, this and that. Like, I'm not going to give them some bullshit. I'm going to make sure that, you know, they're going to put this in a big facility and maybe think about dropping one of their, you know, big time cuts for something new that I make, you know, that's the goal. And, you know, not everybody's going to be a breeder. Now, you know, everybody's got their different things out there. You know, if you want to do production, you know, do production. If you want to breed, do breeding. If you want to make CBD oil, do that. If you want to, you know, make wax, you know, everybody's got their purpose in this. You can be the jack of all trades. I'm not saying you can't. And like everybody tries to, and that's awesome because who wouldn't want to? But, you know, if you're going to push it out to other people, you know, you want to really be, you know, careful. And if you do make mistakes, own up to it. Just, you know, be solid. Be like, oh crap,
You still there, Canna? Hopefully we didn't lose you. Cannafari. Man, what a great episode so far. I really like this guy's overall ethics, both in growing, breeding, and life so far. And I hope I didn't lose him. Cannafari, are you there? Man. Hopefully you get a connection back here real soon. This has been a good one. Come on back. There it goes. Shit. Hopefully he doesn't get discouraged. I'm really enjoying this one too, Jason. And hopefully he comes back, man. I feel better, and especially he's wanting to give away some of these genetics, man. And I'm feeling better about passing them out through the community or letting some trickle throughout the community because he definitely seems very knowledgeable and passionate about what he's got going on there, man. Like I told him, and like I'm telling you now, I got much respect for people with that kind of passion here in the cannabis community. That's for sure. And even better, I think it's awesome that he knows seemingly no, he knows a lot of the same cats that I know here in Michigan, which makes him all the more cooler as well. So shout out to everybody. Kelly Maxwell, cheers to you. Evergreen, I haven't got a chance to say hello to you yet. Buddha Boy, Mason 662, Honcho grown comfortably now. Twisted Roots, Bray Hat, Wuhan. Sorry, Wuhan. Shout out to all you guys. What are you smoking on? Always a good time killer there. Always the time filler question right there. Who else we got in chat? GR420 community videos. As I mentioned earlier, if you guys aren't following them guys, much respect for them cats over there. Great guys, good knowledgeable community, and not a better time to wander over there and join them with that Seeds for Life giveaway they got going over there. Don't go over there, as I said earlier, don't go over there just for that. Go over there because they're a bunch of cool guys, a bunch of cool information. But the Seeds for Life giveaway is a definite draw to get some folks over there. Shout out to them. Cannafari is back. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Hell yeah. Please do not let the internet discourage you, my friend, because myself and Chet has both expressed what a great night and episode this has been thus far.
Hey, no problem, guys. I'm back, right?
We're glad too. We're glad, man. This has been a fucking awesome night.
Oh, just wait. I see that the people keep going up, so I think maybe we got to run a giveaway soon here and hook one of these people up with some seeds.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. That's one thing that another thing. You seem to be relatively new, as we were talking before the show, to what's going on here. But man, we have given away, myself and a lot of people like yourself, great folks like yourself, has passed a lot of genetics through this porthole of the internet to some great folks. So we're always grateful to receive and grow some fire genetics. So, and like I was stating earlier, while you were gone, I feel very good about passing some on through this conversation that we've had, and I got a feeling what you're willing to offer tonight are some good genetics, and I feel good about passing them along. So
hey, that makes me happy. I plan to do the giveaway for these guys that are live here tonight, of course. But the package I'm sending you will have extra packs. Obviously, it's in your hands, so keep as much, do whatever. But give away some packs, whatever. I'm gonna load you up so that way, you can. If you ever run giveaways and stuff, a little bit of Cannafari can make it into whoever wins,
Oh, we run giveaways constantly. I'm forever trying to help other breeders out, and because I actually again, you probably don't know this, but I was a good friend of Subcool's there for a long time. But before I was a friend of his, I was a tester for him for many number of years, and I got to run tons of his genetics. But I eventually became a seed distributor as well for Subcool and the Dank. And what that, and my cannabis journey's been, up and down, and I've been in and out many phases of it. But one of my favorite things was slinging seeds, to be honest with you. And now I'm not doing that, but I sure do love this. It's the same love, you know what I mean? Some of the stories I heard, some of the miles I traveled to get people genetics and see people, like I stated earlier, man, that grow is so therapeutic, you know what I mean? And it can help people out through anxiety, life, financial bullshit because God, nobody wants to pay for it. You know what I mean? And why should they have to pay for it when you can grow it?
Right.
Make some seeds and make that the last purchase you ever make. Start growing your other. From then out and buy seeds, clones.
Right. and even just like for somebody to be able to see that plant growth. Most people go through their whole life never really growing any plant. It's like a lost trait for sure. Like nobody's talking about anything growing. So to see people even interested in trying to like keep it green, that's super cool. It's really therapeutic, like you said, and like you got such a good mindset on all of it, and it's good that you're doing this for people, hosting this stuff, so that people can kind of have that mindset to bring it into their places of meditation and with their plants and stuff like that, and really go and connect with them, and that, like you're saying with the seeds, yeah, that could be your last purchase. You get the seeds, maybe you just stick around, do giveaways and stay around until you get something for free. Or maybe you have a clone that you cherish, you don't even care about anything else, and all of it is good. Seriously, all of it. And like, to see everybody being able to do this because, laws have come the way they are and things like that is really, really awesome. I encourage everybody to enjoy it and, have a chance to be able to grow it. And fuck yeah, we're going to give away some seeds for one of you guys.
That was one of the intentions of when I started out to do this was, behind the scenes, I knew and had met so many great people, throughout my journey, and they had side stories, the person behind it. And that's, that was the intention that I wanted to express, you know what I mean? And then when doing so, it built a community, but it's kind of built other connections as well. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that sit here and listen to me and you talk and then connect. There's a lot of things that we say that connect with them, and then they reach out to you. They're a supporter of you because, they appreciated your breeding knowledge and skills as much as I did, or you know what I mean? They found their own pluses,
Right.
along the way of this conversation. And I feel that's very important. There's people behind there's the brand, you know what I mean? And that's cool. Everybody likes to support a brand, but when you know the person behind the brand and what they, you go, wow, that's a good person. I see the brand, but hey, have you heard that interview, man? He's a cool fucking dude. You know what I mean? It makes it so much easier to slide over and then support that brand. So,
Right. And the whole thing is,
I appreciate you coming on, man.
Right. When you get that seed or that clone or, whatever from someone, you're just sitting there like, damn, dude, that was the fire. Thank you, dude. Like, like that was so dope of you to like, bring that into, whatever for me or, get that possible for me. And like, when you get that freaking fire, you start going like, man, dude, like, I liked whatever, that person had to offer, this or that. And it's really cool to see, all that come together. And I don't know, my packs are 5 packs, they're 45 shipped. I'm doing them on deal for 35 right now, just trying to get things going. So if anybody wants one, just let me know or whatever. And eventually as these things roll out, I'm gonna be like, yo, who's running the dodo days, or who's running the hippo zippo, or who's running the zebra zags. Give me some feedback, give me some photos. I want to do a contest, and whoever kept this thing alive or whatever, blah blah blah, they'll maybe win some sweet like zebra themed whatever, and kind of things like that. So as like the years go by and like we all connect and end up doing this together, people will have these significant pieces of art, or even if the cuts stay alive or whatever. And to me, that's me putting my my imprint or my stamp out here and making it a beautiful thing for other people to enjoy besides myself. I was grateful enough to get this this or that, and now to try to get it into anybody else's hand, that's that's happy as hell for me.
Chat's going, all right, we're sold already. We're sold already. Shoot it out. Shoot it out, J.K. Rubin says. Oh, man, you got to love Chat. So, yeah. Is there a certain diamond you want to pick out of that fire list there that you'd like to, make sure that
So
gets...
I'm gonna do it like this. I got the Molten Otter, the Flamin' Dough, the Dodo Days, the Starling Gloss, the Razzle Dazzle, the Marabou Blue, the Dolicious, and the Clouded Cosmet. All those, the artwork's done and stuff. I have some others where I'm still working on the artwork that could be available too. But if the giveaway winner will be able to pick, of course, because that's how you do it. And you can pick any of those. That would be a little bit better for me. I mean, if there's something else you really want and you don't see art next to it or whatever, I'll make it happen. It doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna do like a random number generator right off my screen here, so that way I can see. There's like 83 people here. I was, but I'll keep it. And then if people stay long enough, I'll maybe do a Pictionary one later.
Awesome. Yeah, I can see that they'll be staying. It's been a great night. Hats off to you, man. I've really enjoyed this conversation so far. And again, the giveaway wasn't mandatory, but man, I appreciate you helping out my chat and the viewers, man. That's pretty amazing as well.
One of the old guys, and hey, no, thank you for having me, and thank you for being just so chill and doing this for everybody. I mean, I'm just one of the guys coming on, and my little spread is just another notch to help the community grow and everybody learn. It's just a whole helping factor, however we can do it together. And one of the old guys I originally met, he was running a lot of seeds, making seeds, and like keeping things alive, like so many genetics. And he would say, man, back at my time, people threw seeds around, just gave them around to each other, and taught people everything. It was like Johnny Appleseed everywhere, drop seeds everywhere, that whole ordeal. So, I try to always leave some seeds on my trail. Like, if I'm if I'm at the Cannabis Cup or this or that or anything, or I go to some clone event or this or that, I'll literally drop packs in a trail as I walk around and just like see who picks them up and, whatever. Cause it's, it's all fun and games, right? Like, man, is there any way I can pull up this list and like see everybody that's in the thing, or it doesn't work that way?
Chat, yeah, you should be able to. Well, I can. Yeah, you should be able to just do a side by side still. I can enlarge. This is what I'll do. You should be able to bring up chat just like you had it. Okay.
Okay. I gotta open
it. And then I'll spotlight you, so that's all they see. So it'll make your screen, the first.
Okay.
The only thing they see.
If I can't pull it up, I'll just have you pull it up, and then when we get that number, you can just count down and pick whosever name it is. But yeah, give me a second here. Seeing 80 right now.
Usually I do like with myself, it's like a 1 to 4, but you do however you want to do.
What do you mean? How do you figure 1 to 4? Explain how you do it. Maybe we could run it your way if my way doesn't end up working. I'll tell you that.
So usually when I do it is, so I'd go 4 times the number of people in chat, just so I believe that it gives them like a 1 in 4 odds. So just because it's 82, so 4 times that would be what, 320. 320 times that, it'd be what, 328. You know what I mean? So it's, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, if you want to just
So it'd be
do it, if you want to do it your way and then pick whoever the winner is, I can just have them send me their info and stuff. So that way, you know, it works.
I dig it. So this is how but we'll do it then that way. So normally how I do it, it's the 1 and 4. They get one guess only, unless they see their number in chat, then they can guess again. Basically, you can in Zoom, there's a chat. If you on our Zoom screen, they'll say chat, and that's a chat just between me and you through the Zoom. You can go ahead and pick a number and send it to me. That way, there is some type of, you know, two-way verification. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
And then whoever either hits the number close enough, or either right on or close enough, usually wins. So that's how
that's a perfect way to do it. So that way they can just slam their number onto the comments and whatever.
Yep.
Yep, I like that.
And then first come, first serve. You know what I mean? And numbers there.
Yeah, whoever says a number that's closest or hits the number literally, then yeah, they're the winners. Right. I like that.
So usually we'll go, I put start in chat. I give them a minute and 30 to run through their guesses.
So you 85 people there, you got to drop your guesses. And what's the number, Eagle?
Shoot, it keeps going up now. So we might as well go 360.
360.
Even 360.
Go 420.
0 to, there you go. So go ahead and the Zoom number, or the Zoom chat, pick me out a number from 0 to 420, and that'll be the winning number. And as soon as you shoot me that number, I'll go ahead and hit start, and they'll have a minute and 30 to go ahead and try for that winning guess.
You better see 85 or 88 different guesses.
I agree. For a half a second, my heart just stopped. I thought you were like dishing out the number. I was like, no. It's happened.
I already made my mess ups for the day, man. Before this thing even started.
Dude, I almost did it the other night. I was giving away some t-shirts, and I almost did it myself. Just blurted out the number when somebody put it in.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. If anybody would rather have a t-shirt instead of a seed pack, I can give you a shirt, but I'm pretty sure everybody's Amazon pack beans.
Beans could be for life. So anytime you're ready, go ahead and hit me with that number in the Zoom chat, and we'll get this bad boy rolling.
Yeah, pick a number out of 420, any number, whatever number's closest. So just, you know, pick your guess. It's going to be random. So there you go. There's the first guess. I mean, there's a couple of guesses on there, I guess.
We haven't even hit start yet. I need your number. You have to Zoom me your number, the winning number.
Oh, fair enough.
Then I'll hit start. I have to help look. You know what I mean? I got to help look for that number. Oh, yeah. Holy shit. I never thought about the screen share. Turn off your camera until you send me the number. That could be, yeah, I never thought about the screen share aspect of it. That's fucking hilarious. That could be just as tragic. Jack Greenstock, cheers to you. Did we have a drop out right at the giveaway? Talk about the build up. That is funny. Well, asshole for life. Cheers to you. Light it up again, Tim. 420 abnormal. Cheers to you as well. Let the suspense build, I say. Let the suspense build. Get your numbers ready. Hold them tight. He'll be back. Honcho Grown is right. We are talking about me. I'm getting to know my guest, Cannafari. He is telling me about a little bit about his growing and breeding. And he was just about ready to give away some seeds, some of his genetics, Faux 20 abnormal. And, well, unfortunately, we had a little bit, just a little bit of internet problems. But he'll be back. Chad Westport blue ball on us. That's funny. But Faux 20 abnormal. When he gets back, we will be giving away some of his genetics and or t-shirt. Your choice was his option. And you'll be able to pick a number from 0 to 420. And yeah. Winner gets to pick some of his fire genetics that he was showing up on there on screen. And yeah, it's too funny. I love these episodes just because mainly it's not me, because it's usually me. It's usually me with the bad internet connections falling out and leaving my guests to maintain and hold things down. But I am, like I said earlier, I am having a lot of fun. You'll use your B-Day 68. Nice. You gotta wait. You gotta wait, Admiral Foe. Yeah, all right, he's back. He's back. We're back on. We're back on. We're back on. Oh, so funny. So funny, Cannafari. They said we're blue ball on them on this giveaway.
Just everybody's ready, and then boom, I'm just gone. Yeah.
So
I opened it.
Without, maybe this is how I'm kind of thinking. Maybe you can maybe shut your camera off and send me your number through the Zoom, so it's not like screen shareable. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then fire up the camera again.
All right. So I just gotta turn off the camera part, or?
Yeah, you can turn off your camera because you're screen sharing. I don't want it leaked. And then through the Zoom chat, you can. Oh, what do you need to? Hold on, I can let you screen share. Trying to screen share, but what I need you to do is right along there where it says chat. First of all, before you do any of this, because I can see you plain as day. That chat right next to screen share, that chat is how me and you can communicate.
Oh, okay.
But before you screen share, you know what I mean? Or go over to the left there. You can shut your Zoom camera off. Right there where you see the mic and the camera. You can shut that off. There you go. Now it just says Cannafari. You can, in chat, send me your winning number, and we'll get this bad boy running.
All right. So I got a direct message in the chat there.
Yeah. If you want, I can say hello to you just so you know that's the chat there. Only me and you see that.
All right. And moment of truth, drum roll.
Okay. As soon as you pop it up, only me and you will be able to see that number, and I will hit start in chat, and you can fire up your camera again, and we'll get this thing going. I got it. Okay, here we go. You guys, good luck. There you go. You guys got 1 minute and 30. One guess only, guys. If you want to throw up them strains so they can know what they're playing for, please do.
See my screen again? Yeah.
I do. We do. We can see them strains. And look at, you wanted 87. We got 94 watching. I think you're going to get all fucking 94. Holy shit.
So. I hope so.
You see them numbers flying?
Yeah, people are about it. That's
That's
awesome.
the way to do it, guys.
I like it. I like it. That was way better. Tough out here. Look at these numbers going.
See some good guesses, but I haven't seen nothing right on yet, guys. Kind of gently going through chat. Ooh, there's a good one. That was a good one. I see one it wasn't right on, but it's damn close. You guys got 36 seconds, 33. If you haven't got your guess in, you can double check to see if somebody has already called out your guess. If they have, you can guess again, but that's the only way you get multiple guesses. I seen pie in chat the other night. It cracked me up. Oh man, we have one that is so close. We have 8 seconds left.
Yeah, man. If you ever have another breeder on or whatever, and you feel like I would be somebody to bring into the conversation, just let me know. I would definitely try to come on. At any point.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. We're always looking to learn. You know what I mean? You know, there's always somebody out there that hasn't heard that. But that was the end. That was the beeper. I need to put stop in chat. Nothing counts after that stop. But I seen one that was pretty damn close. I'll go ahead and put the winning number out there in chat so they can help police us as well. The winning number was 308. The closest guess I seen without verification was 311. Is that what you seen over there, Cannafari?
Wow, you saw 311. I was thinking something else, so I'm thinking that's probably I see it now.
I think that was the closest.
I think so.
Chat's usually pretty honorable about that.
Yeah, I mean somebody's gonna try to make sure it's right. I mean, I smoke a lot, so I miss things.
Right. It's a pretty honorable community. And actually, even when like I have made mistakes, you know what I mean? This is how great of a community we got here. I've actually had them winners, kind of hit me up and be like, I think you were wrong. I think this person won. And I was like, you know what? Because you're cool and you're honest, you both fucking win.
Yeah, right. That's the way to do it. I mean, and there you go, That way, you can at least hook up however it was right or whatever. I like that.
But in this way, it looks pretty obvious to me. I think it was Burning Tree, Maine, with the guess of 311.
Yep.
So congratulations to you. Please go ahead and hit up Cannafari on Instagram with a follow. You guys better, if you're not following already, you guys, the 94 of you, I hope you guys are following over there. I know they've dropped your link several times in chat, but hopefully they're following along. Thank you, man. I love the fact that we were able to spread some love around tonight. I kind of like every time I think about seeds and the thought of giving away free seeds for some reason, and I've got maybe it's the amount of psychedelics I have taken in the past, the microdosing I still like to do, but I always picture that scene in Christmas Vacation when the brother-in-law pats him on the back and he's talking about the Jelly Club, and he's like, Clark, there's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah,
around.
That's the way to go. And you bring up some good things, the micro end and stuff. I mean, that's all good stuff for sure.
And it is too, man. That's the beauty about cannabis is, man, you go through them seeds, pop, 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 pop. You find that one that just fires all cylinders for you, and you can keep that motherfucker for life. Life if you want to. You know what I mean?
I definitely ran across people that were like, man, this one cut, I'll never get rid of it. And it's like, super old, this and that. I'm like, why? And they're like, oh man, the history I've had with this, it's like paid for whatever. Or they've like, you know, had it through like this and that. I mean, man, the guys who kept the chem dog cuts, I mean, holy man, they got some stories. Pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I like hearing a lot of it. I mean, a lot of people have kept things through seed, you know.
You know, I encourage, you know, a lot of seed pop and anymore. I was keeping a lot. I tended libraries more here soon, but I kind of wiped the slate clean with a lot of shit, man, just so I can, you know, start going through and popping shit again. And it sucks that we have numbers here in Michigan, man. I am so envious. I know it's 1,500, 250, 2,500 a year for that uh, unlimited Oklahoma. But man, if Michigan gave me that, that's to me is like a few weeks of work. You know what I mean? A side job, something like that, to be able to house everything I wanted to keep. You know what I mean? That's
I didn't know that. That is so cool. What's up with that, man? Michigan needs to get on that for sure. Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%.
so. What have been some, you know, besides what you're breeding with and working with now? What have been some of the ones that, since legality and, you know, growing's been a thing here in Michigan? A lot of amazing shit's been passed around. Like we've talked about Thin Mints, you know, the bee cookie. You know, there's a lot of fire, you know, that's been around. And them are just Michigan strains, which have been some for you that, you know, grown
right.
out or just tried.
Yeah, that's a good one. I started really dissecting into like different flavors and strands through time. I have like a huge skunk collection of different sources of skunk that I've been looking into. I have a lot of chem and sour OG mix. That's another flavor category I look into. Um, Mostly a lot rallies into the chem OG sour area. I've collected probably that more than anything. But yeah, I probably got like almost every region of landrace I can think of. Um, and these are all, you know, in the bowl, you know, kind of thing. So I've and then you know, I've collected a lot of like different flavors and stuff. So after collecting all of them, I started doing work. So I started doing some like flavor work. I started with the purple stuff, like the Black Russian, double purple Doja stuff, because it was like kind of like the first like seeds I got in my hands that I was really dedicated to do work with. I did work with the skunk line. I did work with a headband. I did work with a lot of OGs, like a hand, like so many different ones. You know, OGs crazy. Let's see. I did a lot of the blueberry. I did some white widow. Got the cough going. Been doing a lot of Hawaiian work. One of the buddies that got me into a little bit of this and that, he was doing a lot of his uncle, or at the time in the 80s or you know early 70s, was doing a lot of work in Hawaii, and those strands were making it to Michigan. And one of them was monkey pods, an old Hawaiian skunk. I was able to locate that cut for him, and that spooled a lot of the land race collecting. Um, yeah, I don't know. I would, you know, if I pop, you know, I pop a lot of different varieties, and then I try to like pull the best male out of the group. So, you know, if I pop a bunch of OGs that I'm looking through, or like maybe some fruits like mango or some strawberry or grapefruit or whatever I have, you know, and the best male, let's just say, happens to be the grapefruit. Well, you know, that fuck the rest. You know, they just weren't good enough for me right now, and I'm gonna work with that grapefruit and cross it to some things and things like that. So, you know, there's been a lot of things like that. You know, and like you know, as you work with so many of the different names, I guess, like, am I still here?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Perfect. Yeah, as I started working with different strands, it became like, you know, you really watch like the plants, their structure, growth, leaf patterns, and smells and stuff. You really get across the name bullshit, that like been covered over, like, oh, you'll see like, this flavor is actually Northern Lights, but been renamed because of a phenotype maybe that was found, or this or that, and maybe you're not seeing that phenotype as you pop your collection of seeds, but you find out that that strand might be this strand or that, and you really start learning more of like the plant's look and the whole like what it's gonna be, and you start dissecting into like a lot of the varieties. Like a good one right now would be like skunk and haze. People bring up skunk and the double leaf separation, and that being like a really unique thing to find if you're looking at skunks. And it's like, yeah, I get a lot of skunk seeds that have this double separation thing going on. And I don't see it with common strands, of course, and that's kind of like a big hinter if you do have skunk or not. But if I, pull all those double separated leaves and, I run them and they're all smelling cheese, then that's a cheese phenotype of that skunk. And, it's later than the fact of what people are looking for, which is a little bit earlier when it was that roadkill kind of vibe.
Hopefully a future guest that I've been recommended by your boy Roy Boy, who's a friend and somebody else I have respect for, past guests. Faux 20 abnormal in 20. Faux 20 abnormal. Sorry, I didn't mean to fuck your name all up like that. Would like to know if you know Silver Lake area. Do you talk to DJ Short or Motor Rebel or Green Rebel now, as they are both in Michigan as well?
I didn't know DJ Short ended up here and I was here, but I talked to him online, and that's kind of, I never met. Oh, I did meet him in person actually, but we were mostly talking online. So and so I don't know. I guess I'll just reconnect with them. I guess that would be an easy way. But yeah, that's cool. I do know Mota Rebel. I being linked up with some of the people up north there, I got to work with some of the strands that were going through their hands. I don't know who the Lemon G came from, but I think maybe Mota Rebel's dad, because I think the son runs it now, was holding that one and got passed around and ended up in my hands. But I don't know. They're a really good group. A lot of these Michigan breeders, I end up meeting at these cups and stuff, and I trade them glass for seed. I literally end up hanging out with like every single booth. I literally get as much glass into their hands for them to enjoy, close to nothing, as much as possible. They'll give me some seeds or whatever they got on their table, whether it's whatever the product that any table's running, and I get to meet like all these companies. So I do have a good I've met a good amount of these Michigan cats, and as more of these events come back up, I'm sure I'll meet as many as I can. Yeah, I know the Lemon G story completely. I just don't know how it got, all the way to my hands. I do know it came from the hippie trail, and the lady in Ohio was probably the lady who snuck it in her sleeve. She like sewed her sleeve, put the seeds there, and it was a lemon tie that was out there. It just smelled like lemons. She put the seeds in her sleeve and sewed her sleeve shut, and then brought them back. And then she was running that Lemon G all the way until now. Still floats around, and it I don't know. Yeah, it's a Michigan, or it's a Ohio. Sorry, Ohio original, like the Death Star. But yeah, I know it's made in Michigan, and I don't have it anymore. Actually, I do miss her, but I have a couple of crosses that I kind of work with the lemon terpenes. The lemons come through, and it just kind of, I got like it crossed into Starfighter, things like that.
Another friend of the show and past guest brings up another great question and point. Where can we see your glass, and where could they purchase some if they were interested? Good point, and thank you, Detroit River Rat.
Yeah, that is very true. Okay, so yeah, I work with a bunch of people on my glass. I've got like 3 groups of people that all my class goes with, and I connect with like a collective. So you guys can just message me to see available glass or anything. Yeah, I don't know. I spend a lot of the glass is the production. It kind of does and I'm not really pushing more of I do more of like a production style, so my work doesn't get out there as much. But I do have some people that push their names out and stuff, and I push my glass through them, and I do a lot of collabs and everything with them. So I can definitely show you any glass at any point in time. Just message me and I can show you everything. So, you had Kyle Cushman's on? I thought they were asking how I got the cut.
They were asking if I have had him on. I've asked Kyle to come on a couple of times, and not yet. Not yet.
Oh man, well, I definitely talked to him a couple of times. I do hold his strawberry cough cut. It's pretty cool. He came onto my page and just confirmed it, so it was like a whole thing. Then I got to talk to him.
Great dude, very knowledgeable, man. I would love to get him on and hear his story. Everybody's busy. I keep trying. Can only do what I can do. CJ Apple, cheers to you.
Real quick, for the Lemon G people in chat, if it doesn't come out super fluffy, like it should be the most fluffiest shit you've ever seen in your life, and it should be like just lemons, like such lemons in the taste, the smell, just so lemon, like, and I'm talking like straight lemons, and it should be really, really fluffy, like fluffy as hell. Yeah, man. Go on, sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I told you in the beginning you were the guest. You were the guest. You should have the first right of, first word here. I was just gonna say, as far as the glass production, I appreciate, like I said earlier, the artist aspect of blowing glass. So if the pieces are more limited, and I appreciate that, to be honest with you. Somebody that takes time and puts out just exactly what they wanted. Yeah, the image, you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure most people are wondering about the Grateful Dead steelies I make, and some of the Sherlocks and stuff. I definitely have all that stuff available. If anybody wants to see pictures or all of it, I do have it all. It's just I'm just like not, the whole branding and all that stuff is kind of new. So, I'm just kind of working on all that kind of stuff. And thank you a lot, man. Your words mean a lot, man. You make me really feel like I can really push all this stuff, and people will just enjoy it, and it's a really good feeling.
Yeah, of course, I encourage that. I want everybody to know your full range of talents. You know what I mean? And that's what this thing's about. So please feel free to show your glass, your genetics. That's part of getting to know you and what you're passionate about, and where cannabis has led you. So it's an open forum when it comes to that shit.
Giveaway winner, you'll get a piece of glass in your package. And real quick, I forgot to let the giveaway winner pick his pack, so we should do that.
Right on. Well, I will. If you can now screen share. I gave you the power to screen share, so you can actually bring up a nice, you know what I mean, full screen menu. Just go over there to the green arrow, screen share, whatever your menu. Boom. They'll kick us both off. Put us up. There you go. Beautiful. Everything is on screen now.
Well, now I can zoom in if you guys. Maybe that's too zoomed in.
So, Burning Tree, Maine, please pick out one of your strains and go ahead and drop him a DM on Instagram. Cannafari. There's two of them. He's the 10K, not the two.
Both of them. I had to make a backup.
You okay? I'm glad you pointed that out because I seen that earlier and I'm like, I don't know, because I was gonna send you a message. I'm like, I don't think that's the one I was talking to. I had to go back over to my other account to make sure you were the same guy I was talking to. So I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah, the other one's pretty fair. I honestly use the other one to follow more accounts and stuff and like check things out. Like, you know, people I've traded and stuff, you know, to just kind of keep a, hey man, how's that doing for you kind of thing or whatever. Let's see. You guys can see all pictures and all that stuff on the feed. I'm gonna start posting plant pictures more and stuff. I just been kind of backed up, man. The glass production is more work than you guys would think.
So what made you, head down the glass road? To be honest with you, there's a lot of things to do, man. It's a costly startup just to, you know what I mean? See if you like it.
It's kind of a sad story, but the old guy I met who was the Grateful Dead head, he was I ran into him at a festival. I was doing all kinds of art. I naturally like paint and I make prints and pins and shirts and t-shirts, and I went to school for graphic design. That's why you can see me draw and I make my own art and everything. When I ran into this old guy, he was talking about how nobody wanted to do it anymore. And the buddy that I was with was a younger guy. He was getting into the art schooling and kind of doing the graphic work and stuff. And we were at a show with, a group of friends. And this old guy was teaching us how to do this glass. And my buddy was at this art school also doing glass, telling me every day, man, you're the only person I know who knows all about these pipes and Sherlocks and bonds and has known about it. And, just as much as if I have a cannabis history, I have a glass history with a lot of the artists and just the whole thing. And when I met that old guy, he taught me that Grateful Dead technique and all that stuff. We really took that really far. And then my buddy ended up passing away. And when that happened, I knew, I should probably take glass a little more seriously. So I started really taking it full on and making it more of the bigger thing I was doing. And, and that was before I even got in touch with plants. I was just really interested in strands and stuff. And if I could get some good herb, I sure did. And recently the older cat just passed away too. And, it's been a thing, but I'll push the glass for sure. I push it through multiple friends, and we all, we teach each other everything. So,
It's funny that we hear, our journeys and stuff. I see Captain 420 there. He shot me a DM today, and saying hello, which I think is always cool. I always appreciate the hellos and, people new to the show reaching out. But he actually, he was one of the hellos that went, you know what I mean? He definitely raised here because he told me where, a little bit about himself in his time in Michigan. And they correlated, we were in the same town at the same time. And which was I'm I got to talk to this guy. So I'm looking forward to DMing and getting to know 420 and Captain a little bit better to see how close we were. How close we were growing probably side by side in the same town.
Right.
That's kind of funny shit. That's kind of funny.
It really is. And that's a beautiful thing. And like you said, after Jerry passed, that's a big thing. Everybody, turned to doing other things or, building, glass brands or, the whole thing. And, you know, it really inspired this whole turn of things, and that's really a beautiful thing there. And like, man, like you said, man, and then people just come together like this, and you know, they'll just, you know, start giving out a little more information about each other, this and that, and you really build really nice friendships. It's a beautiful thing.
It is too. It is. So did
I think my thing is
Is
it
it-
showing the list on your side?
it is, I believe it's just showing from clouded cosmic down to just under dosy days, and then delicious down to
Okay,
Lux Leopard.
yeah, I have all the artwork done for those ones, so yeah, if he wants to pick out of those, that'd be great. But if he wants the whole list, I can do that too. It doesn't really matter.
No, it's up to that's just up to you, my friend.
It's
That's
bust
just
out
up to
some
you.
packs around, or you could get the strawberry cough one and the GMO Mac molten otter, or swimming dough.
So if you could, there, please give us your pick.
And if you don't pick
That's
right
right.
now, it's just hard to see or something, you can just DM me, be like, yo, I couldn't see or whatever, and I'll just, you know, send a list direct or whatever. Scroll up. All right, I'll get this in the middle and get a whole, so you guys can see what we got here. All right, and it's a pretty limited drop.
Isn't it-
So there's some more than others and stuff. Sorry, what did you say?
Isn't it kind of nice to be able to, directly relate with the viewer like that?
That is the site link, but man, I haven't updated that thing in forever. I think I was on there the other day and threw some up there, but you know, I haven't updated in a long time. So yeah, so that
All
strawberry
really
cough
fire.
cut is you know, from the Rabbit Hippie and from the Kyle Kush mints from some bigger runs. This OG Kush cut is from out in the Cali area, about, I don't know, 98, 99. It's been just a really piney lemon vino that has been held around for a very long time. This is actually my first time ever releasing a cross with it because, you know, nobody really knows the cut. The Molten Otter GMO Mac cross, that's a circulating GMO cross to Mac off the initial drop that Capulator did. Capulator also has some of my glasswork. He's got a Sherlock. And that Dosey-Dose I was explaining earlier. Let's see, we move on over here to the Jenny Kush Blue Diesel Cross. The Jenny Kush is one of those really loving strands that Rare Dakeness put out because they had their buddy Jenny pass away. Yeah, the Blue Diesel, I guess I did. Yeah, the Blue Diesel was a good one. I'm pretty sure it originally came out of some gear that Seedsman was doing and then got crossed in there. The Trot Breath is, you know, only Seeds. I think they made the Trot Breath, and that's to the Motor Breath 15. Very beautiful cut. I mean, shoot. Yeah, that was a fun one. The Giraffe Rex
That
cross.
Motor Breath is loud strain. That Motor Breath is just super loud.
It's a beautiful cut, man. I love that thing, man. I need to get her back. I did some crosses with her, and I also have a cross of her with the male that Seed Junkie did that I hold. You know, a couple things with her. Let's see, the Giraffe Rex is that Angel Cookies is Cushman's to TKBX3 out of Seed Junkie's gear, and then that Orange
Sounds
Chameleon
good.
is out. If we're going over this way, I'm hopping zigzagging over. The Akema Aurora's Orange Chameleon cross. The Orange Chameleon came out of Myotech's gear. He's been doing a lot of Gorilla Glue IBL stuff lately. The Hippo Zippo is a Gold Fighter cross. The Gold Fighter is a kosher cookies cross to Starfighter, and the Starfighter comes from Alien Genetics, and the kosher Kush was a OG cut that DNA Genetics had around here for a long time.
And also have that same Gold Fighter crossed into Pug's Breath for the Zebra Zigs. And then we go into the Crumpets, which was released by Cookie Fam, and then F2 by, man, I forget his name, but that's a Cookie's drop there, cross to the Pug's Breath. I also have that Crumpets cross to the Dosey for Kudos Kudu. And then the Grateful Brothers, somebody was asking about earlier. I have those both crossed. One's the Gazelle Spell, the other one is, that's the Crumpets cross. The Antelope Hope and the Impala Impact are the Grateful Brother crosses, and those are Happy Brother crossed to Sour Diesel, and then I'm pretty sure crossed to whatchamacallit, man, it's either Cement Shoes or one of the OGKB crosses. I'll pull that up for somebody if they want to know a little more specific. And that was a Michigan breeder who made the Grateful Brother cross. I just found a really, really nice vino that chunks out silver and pulls out some. It's really gassy. It's a really nice vino that I've been holding on to. So that's the first time I'm releasing crosses of that. And then the Mama Ree's headband to Mango Puff, which is a headband. You know, it's a whole headbandy mango thing. And that one's crossed to, you know, both of different males. And then I got the Snake Breath that I was talking about earlier crossed into both. So yeah, I could keep going on. It gets into where
Go ahead.
All right, fair enough. So then the Stink Breath crossed to both of those. So the Stink Breath is a very gassy strand. I wouldn't recommend it for somebody who's got like smell kind of worries, because if you put it in your car or anything and you leave it for even like 10 minutes, it's going to smell for days after. And it's the spooky cut labeled there because if you smoke it, it really gives you that paranoia creeper vibe that like you were just scared shitless. So it'll make you not feel too comfortable. So really strong stuff though. So if you don't only take like a hit of something and you want to make sure it's going to work, you know, those Stink Breath crosses are good. And that's the Hypo Hyena and the Cheetah Creepa. And then going on to the Wow Stritch, which I'm pretty sure got a name change, but it's a Banana OG to Maui OG to the Pug's Breath. Very, very, if you're looking for something classical that's really banana terpenes and grows like an OG, which grows like shit mostly. When I mean shit, it means like a straight up plant going straight. You got to top it a bunch of times. But people love that for scrogs and stuff. And if you're looking for an OG, this will do it. It yields crazy. It grows super fast. It's easy to trim. I mean, it's got a lot of features people love, but a little bit harder to grow being a Maui OG cross. But I mean, I'll tell people how it is versus not. And then the next one is Nightingale Glory. It's a Night Nurse to Dosido cross. This is a very, very tight and true stem. If you're looking for something where the Dosido is going to shine through and grow super easy, that's your pretty good cross there. And then if I go up to the Lux Leopard, it's luxury, you know, leopard kind of ordeal. The Kosher Cookies was made by DNA and it wasn't dropped very widely, more to like specific facilities and stuff. And that one was a very, very silver pheno, very indica, very, very danky gas. Then we go up to the Dodo Days. It's Moonshine Haze to Ghost Train Haze, and then to the Pugs. That one is rare dankness on the haze aspect. And man, if you're looking for something hazy, but like really modern day, easy to grow, like not some like hazy bullshit, man, that's your hit. And man, it's super like tasty, gassy, flavorful, a lot of packs in your bone. It's plus it's when it was crossed to the Pug's Breath, man, it is very colorful. It's a really, really nice one. And she yields and grows easy, and man, she's a nice one, really nice one. Then we go to the Starling Gloss. It's Cherry Punch to Dosido. The Cherry Punch was Cherry AK-47 skunk there. So, and the Punch was a very icy, very nice one. It's a really nice, easy to grow, like really beautiful flower. You don't even have to try, and she'll just come out beautiful every time. You could totally just like not care, and she'll just do it for you.
So that's kind of really nice for people. The Razzle Dazzle going up is a Raspberry Punch by Biotech again to the Dosido. Man, if you want something to grow quicker than you could ever imagine and be out of hand quicker than you want and just be super, super trippy on flavors like the strawberry cough, but like way bigger nugs, way silver looking, you want the Razzle Dazzle. The Marabou Blue is a fun one I put together. If you guys know the site Seed Finder, it's like all the genetics are there. They really are really cool to me, and one of the nice people I've met and ran across. They really like that Blue OG. I was able to, and that Blue OG is from G13 Labs, I'm pretty sure. And it's really, really blueberry terps. I mean, it is the most blueberry thing I've come across, and it's crossed to an OG, making it, you know, a little more stronger hitting. It's like blueberry muffins that cushy out, you know, very relaxing smoke. And then we'll go up to the Delicious, which is bubblegum Dosido. It is bubblegum, like you would know. It's the indica phenol that goes around. So it grows really short girl and reeks of bubblegum in the bag to the smoke, and especially to the Dosido, man. Anything crossed to the Dosido, it turns it silver and red. Anything crossed to the Pug's Breath, it turns it really like gassy pebble, fruity pebble, black, like leaf looking, really icy plant. And then the last one on here is Sky King to Pug's Breath, which is the Clouded Cosmet, and that one is it's a gassy stand. It's a Astro Dog. Sky King was made by Dinky Dinkster. He's not really talked about too much, but he has a lot of the original Chem stuff, and he's an older cat that's not around too hard. But he made the Sky King, and it's a very alien OG Chem type of thing. Those are pretty much gone though. I still have some packs stashed somewhere.
That's a pretty impressive list there. You know, a lot of questions when we talk about breeding there is the importance of the male there, and what they look for. So what made you choose the Pug's Breast and the Dosies? And, you know, what stood out, and what do you think they bring with the crosses? You know what I mean? Well, you know, that's one thing a lot of people don't understand is exactly what traits the male brings. So what are some of the things that, you know, these two bring that, you know, are the reasons you're working with them, basically?
So, and that's a really good thing to bring up, like super good, because you know that's what shines over most of the time. And for me, I had this Pug's Breath cut and Dosido clone only for a long time. I lost the Pug's Breath, and when I lost the Pug's Breath, I was kind of destroyed in the fact that I didn't share it with anybody. I only crossed it a little bit, and I just didn't have it anymore. It was one of my favorite cuts. I really missed it. So when I was looking to try to bring it back into my life, I saw that the lady who originally made Mendo Breath, which is the same thing, just renamed to Pug's Breath, a little bit of crossing around, or you know, all within the same genetics. So Mendo Breath and Pug's Breath are the same thing. She wasn't able to grow anymore. She's been doing a bunch of auctions with her and her husband. So somebody I saw got them, and I really just wanted that Pug's Breath to work with for myself, really. And at the same time, literally at the same time, I was doing a glass trade. My lady was getting into collecting her first seeds and doing her first breeds for herself. We mostly breed for ourselves and have been our whole time, but recently people have asked me to bring genetics out, so that's why I have. And she was doing some of her first crosses and stuff, and she traded for glass, and the guy didn't send her the seeds. He just didn't send her them, and he got the glass and everything. And then some mutual friend of his messaged me and said, "Hey man, I would love to give you seeds for what happened." And I said, "Oh, it's cool and everything. Let's just do a trade." So I gave him some glass, and he ended up giving me the Dosido from a company, you know, that was putting out the Dosido that got it directly from Archive. And I then took it a couple generations myself to bring it out to. I think it's at F5 in my hands now. And just kind of like, because I had the clone only still of the Do-si-do, so I was able to, and I only started with 6 Do-si-do seeds. So out of the 6 Do-si-do seeds, I brought it up to, having maybe 100, and then, working that up to, having more than you ever want, kind of thing. And when I was working with both of those lines, I popped the seeds at the same time, kind of thing. I was watching, a lot of the OGKB stuff, and I had cement shoes, and I had followed that strand closely. So I just had a good eye on the OGKB, which is a cookie hybrid. So it's just like a newer cookies kind of thing. I really got to work the lines a little bit. And what I was mainly looking for was a representation of what I had. So, the Pug's Breath, I'll tell you guys, is a little bit harder to grow than the Do-si-dos. They're very OGKB dominant, so you'll get some funky phenos coming out of there. But if you give them love and hope and get them to their full potential, because they grow out of it completely, they will be way danger than you could imagine. And that's where a lot of these people were pulling these new clone onlys and stuff, was from bag seeds of things like that. And it's really beautiful stuff. There is some like really fast growing, easy growing ones and all of it, but the Pug's Breath is a little bit harder. The Do-si-do, on the other hand, is a little bit in line. It went up to the F4 by the time this happened, and at that point, the breeding of the nasty phenos was pretty much taken out. So it was more like every time you could pop a couple seeds or a lot, you would get the 2 phenos every time. And the 2 phenos being one, like a pre-98 Bubba Kush, very short, squatty girl, cushy and all, and then a taller, stretchy girl that's more creamier and finishes white, but her leaves will turn red. And both of them will turn colors and fade like beautiful fall colors. But yeah, they're beautiful. And then back on the Pug's end, she does finish up black and beautiful and really brings out color with purples and a little bit of orange and mad frost, and plants finish like black. So bringing those into like the crossing aspect was very beautiful, because knowing how the moms were and then seeing them clash to males I was very familiar with lineage and working with them multiple generations when we went to like testing seeds and stuff. Man, everything was so beautiful and very, just really unique. It matches everything out there today, and I can't wait for people to try them. Is all I gotta say on that.
Oh, damn it. The damn mute button. Damn that mute button. So I was going to refer to the chem crosses that you were talking to, because you were talking about babying your way through the one. I enjoy chem. I'm a big fan of the chem. But one of them things about them strains that throw them late bananas, for me, what I find with them strains that do that are they don't like to, to avoid that, if you pull back your nutrients like mid flower, it usually will alleviate that late flower banana in that strain.
Yes.
So I never have a problem with the counts. That's one of them strains I really enjoy. Yeah. And another thing, I want to shout out to you. It's awesome that you're able to have a significant other there that shares, the same passion as well, and you're able to like both work on breeding. So that's pretty awesome as well. Just shout out to the two of you for something cool as well.
Yeah, made a seriously fire cross. I mean, I would get that into more hands than I would even. She got a forbidden lime, so what it was called, like forbidden fruit to the Black Lime Reserve. Super limey phenos, lemon, like the lemon G all the way, but more like a little bit of the gassier tone. Then she took that, crossed it to Starfighter, and it just like was the iciest, most rock hardy indica plants ever, and like literally you could touch them, rub up against them, and you're just smelling lemons. It's we're gonna get that out there for sure.
Awesome, awesome.
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
had the pleasure of working with a couple of those Black Lime Reserve crosses too,
Oh,
and
awesome.
that big fat buds, man. That lime was very pungent in the ones that I had, and man,
Yep.
it was
Oh
just a
yeah.
pleasure.
Yep. You already know it's just the lemons all over the place, and she breeds true. You know, you could cross it in anything, and the lemons will probably take over. So when it got hit to that Starfighter, you know, Starfighter's another one where you know, whatever you cross it to, it turns anything icy. So, you know, the combination of both of them was just like lemon icy no matter what. Like,
That sounds pretty awesome. I can't wait to hear about that one as well. Hopefully, you guys will keep us updated on the current strain list. Hope, like I said in the beginning, I hope that you've enjoyed yourself enough that and you'll be checking back in on the wormholes, popping in and out and telling us, a little bit about breeding and what you're working on.
oh, of course, of course. I would definitely like to keep everybody, you know, on that and see the, you know, how it's going and everything. It's a, you know, and you know, I like to do giveaways a lot. I do them almost weekly on my page. So, you know, feel free to join them. You know, I'll pop in here and if I'm ever on live feeds or whatever, I'll, you know, continuously do them. You know, I want to get this stuff into people's hands and I want people to, you know, want to come and do these things. And that's, you know, one of the good things about it is, you know, sharing your.
I agree with you. You know, one of the things that I'm really proud of that that about the show that I've personally done this last year in this journey is give out a lot of fucking seeds, and to get people to get growing, and people like yourselves that come on and dump out knowledge of breeding, growing, both here and in the wormhole. Man, is priceless on my end, their end, and but uh in memorable in memory of my friend Sub Cool there, who passed uh February last year, and but his birthday was in September, and in the honor of keeping a friend of mine's memory alive and doing what he would do is give away some free seeds, and we want to teach people to grow. Man, I mailed out 200 packs of Jelly Bean, Agent Orange, and Sangria out to people with, it was with the idea, to teach people to grow, to tag it with the photos, and so everybody, if it was a new grower, could follow along with an older grower and ask
You know, the
questions
whole
or
thing and
tips.
see how everybody's comparing. Dude, that is so awesome. And you got to really help with that. That is like beautiful. So beautiful.
So I respect, people like yourself that are, both trying to get giving seeds out because you want to give them out, and, to get things going for yourself. It's a great way to get people to, love a great strain and to get a good name going for yourself, to be honest with you. It's always nice to, see your strain grown around the world and to hear people. That's another cool thing. I've seen people, breeders, travel and nonchalantly talk to people about cannabis, and hear their name of one of their strains come out, and what a great feeling that is to, oh, by the way, I bred that one out. You know what I mean? To see,
Right. Right.
see that firsthand,
It's true.
would
It's
be
so true.
amazing.
I see somebody in the comments bringing up Romulan Joe. Um, it's a very indica one. It's a little bit classier. I would honestly say maybe it might be like a Northern Lights, but don't quote me on that, or hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying something like that. But you know, I always thought why he called it Romulan. You know, there's a Romulan, Michigan. Maybe he was from that area, Romulan, Michigan. You know, because he's a Michigan cat. I don't know, but you know, I do have some Romulan seeds that I probably will dig into.
Well, the original Romulans from Mr. Soul, right?
From where?
Romulan C99, same strain.
Oh, is it a C99? Is that what it is?
I believe so. I could be wrong on that, but
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know exactly what it is. I just know of her being very indica, is what I thought. Or was told. Maybe I'm wrong too. And I know it's from Michigan. He was from Michigan, and I don't really know a lot of that. So you're probably right. you know.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I smoke a lot of weed, Cannafari. I smoke a shit ton of weed. And, to be honest with you, that's one of my weaknesses, man. I got a lot of respect for guys. I write all my shit down, all my testing, and I got to be clear about that too, because I am on record every night. Tester strains, new strains, first runs in the book. I write down breeder, crosses, seeds popped, day have popped, you know what I mean, and start my journal like that. But after I've grown them several times, and I'm very guilty of kind of throwing that date and record right out the window, because you know what I mean. I've ran them a few times. I'm not necessarily a calendar person to where.
I mean,
We kind of talked about this earlier. It's not production for me; it's quality, and I know what I want to see from my plant. And my calendar can't tell me that, because environment and everything else changes, which will dictate that final date. You know what I mean? So,
right.
well, I
And
write it
that's
down.
right. And that's the thing. For me, I was always in like a smaller scale, so it wasn't really. I'd slap the label on there every time, and it was. That's all I needed to keep track of. For the most part, I'd watch. When the first day of flowering, when it ended, so I didn't really have to keep it too hard. Kept it really simple, and as more things came across, I could really just keep the names right. And for me, for breeding, if I breed with something a couple times and it's just not my favorite in the crowd, I'll take it out of the cycle and get rid of it. I wish I was a little bit more adamant of spreading the clone before I got rid of it, because there's some serious fire that have gone through my hands and I didn't spread it and I just get rid of things. But I try to keep my seed stock fresh. So if I get Romulan seeds from 20 years ago or skunk seeds from 15 years ago, I gotta pop them and do the work now versus let them sit any longer. And the Romulan guy, yeah, I think you're right. I'm not sure. I have worked with Space Queen. I see where Cinderella 99 is. I definitely smoked it a lot when I was younger. C99 is more of like a Jack, and Jack and Northern Lights kind of pretty much ride along the same line if you watch them grow. So that's why I brought up like thinking that Romulan was like an indica Afghani, which is what Northern Lights is, because a lot of those earlier strands were indica Afghanis. But like I said, I have Romulan seeds that I'll go through myself and kind of get a bigger whatever. I do know of a podcast or two where a couple guys hold very old cuts of Romulan and get a lot of information about it there. If you want to message me, and I can give you those things.
Right on. I'm just kind of catching up here, looking over at chat. They've been enjoying this as much as I have.
Yeah, I'm seeing this. I do a couple of live things, so I try to see how the chat goes and follow them a little bit and see how it all goes.
So, what are there's any strains that you sitting in your vault that you're looking forward to popping with and maybe breeding with sometime soon?
I mean, I breed constantly. I just keep smaller amounts of things and not really big scales, so that way I can kind of do little amounts and just kind of always be making seeds and trying things. I got a lot of chem work recently in my way, so I've been dabbling that way. popping a lot of that, but also just trying a lot of the sour diesel that I have just to compare the two. Especially, I've seen a lot of Cam OG hybrids, so I'm just trying to get my eyes familiar with a lot of it. Like Skunk BA, he just started making all those seeds for his company, and I got a bunch of those from a friend of his. So I just been kind of digging through those. So I yeah, there's been an interest of cheese lately around me and skunk. Everybody's asking me to go through the skunk and cheese stuff. So I've been doing all that stuff. Honestly, I don't know why everybody wants the skunk so bad. I feel like it's more leafy and not really like, I don't know, appealing compared to a lot of strands out there. But who am I to say much?
I just think, a lot of the super loud strains are leafy, to be honest with you. You kind of stated that earlier, the terpy shit. For me, the terpenes play such a huge role in cannabis for me. It isn't necessarily about the large THC amount. It's the terpenes. It's what's on the nose. What hits me like that. And what hits me on the nose usually tells me perfectly where I want to go. And usually for me, for the skunk terps, that type of flavor, that type of terp, it's that smile, real good, laughy type weed that I don't really think, exists in a large scale to this day, to be honest with you. And that's what I'm on the pine trail as well for both of those reasons. I believe the pines and the skunks are the very sociable,
You nailed it.
hurt your face and gut strains.
You nailed it. I for skunk and pine and whatever, it does hit that laughable creative side that you're looking for. At least in my studies and finding, you have nailed what I've nailed on that same information. That lemony, limey, or like whatever kind of pheno characteristics are very get you laughing and really creative and things like that. I really hunt for those too.
So when it comes to breeding, we kind of hit upon this a little bit. Would you rather breed from strain or from cut? To be honest with you, because I could see the pluses and minus on both sides. The popping from seed, being able to pheno hunt and possibly some vigor. But as far as cut, there's the reliability of somebody's done the work, and this is what it is, and
I do like
what you're
clones
gonna get.
because they're tight and true, and you can get like a lot of representation, seeing it being ran around, especially if you get a clone that's been like, the clones that I usually get are clones that breeders use. So it's like you brought up Mota Rebel, and a lot of the clones I originally got were their breeder cuts, and when I got those cuts, they were tight and true cuts, and I really liked that because if I got a male that kind of sucked when I went to go testing, I'd be like, oh crap, like the string got worse, like that male sucked, like so that was cool. But then when I got into like pheno hunting from seed and then like making crosses with those, I really found a lot of uniqueness. And the problem with that is like, let's say I find let's say I go hunt like a lemon strand and I find 3 phenos that are great. Okay, now I've crossed all of them to my new male. Well, now I have like 3 different versions of the same strand, and then that gets all tricky. But it's all up to kind of how you want to go. I do a little bit of both, honestly, and I think it's more about what I'm trying to make. Like a lot of these crosses that I've listed out. I put them together and gave them these names and all this different stuff because I felt like the mix of the cross with the male and the name was a true representation of what they were going to get. So, I made more than, I listed. I just made smaller amounts or, I only got 10 seeds or something small or whatever. And those strands, I look into deeper, and then I constantly do that with these ones. And then as I go into like F2s up to F4s, I really start to dissect what that strand has to offer.
I appreciate your open pollen breeding aspect too, a little bit, as far as being able to pass on multi traits into the next generation. Sometimes you can't nail down that male, and because they do offer both, nice traits. So I give you shout outs to that. But what I'm curious to know your opinion about as a breeder is indoor and outdoor breeding. I'm kind of on the fence about that. I almost think we're breeding down our cannabis to an extent that, indoor breeding's great. We can do a lot of, in particular selection, but we're breeding indoors. You know what I mean? Which is, a lot less environment, a lot less phenotypes that would be available. And in my opinion, we're taking out some of the hardiness too, in my opinion.
I think the best way to do it is greenhouse outside if possible. If you look at some of these old cats like Neville and Sam the Skunk Man and Breeder Steve and a lot of these guys that did a lot of breeding outside organically and just all of that, they 30 years later you could pop their seeds and like, dang dude, they're still good. Um, and you're right, you're taking a wolf and you're turning it into a dog. So when you're doing that the whole time, these things are getting smaller and smaller and they're getting more finicky. They're not dealing with the elements. They're not getting hit with wind and rain and the natural elements out there that would be there. And, that's the whole thing right there, and you're right. I really look up to some of these bigger companies like DNA and, you know, Canarado and just anybody who's made it to a bigger level and being able to do the breeding outside to really start looking into these things and bringing this stuff back with the collections and stuff they have to really stop that from happening. Because I think you're absolutely correct. I mean, I just did a lot of this work and it's beautiful and I know it does great out indoors and outdoors it's gonna be a little bit tougher, I would say, because they're very day plants, so they're gonna attract a lot more things outside. Where like I've done the Black Russian stuff where you could throw that stuff outside and it's gonna be massive and it's gonna do itself and it's gonna do really good outdoors. So it's all genetics really, and crossing things into each other is a thing, and getting it into multiple hands for multiple people to try it in multiple environments.
I talked to Kevin Jodry on multiple occasions, and he argues the fact, since we're talking about the skunk, and that's why I'm bringing it up, is he said that we lost the skunks due to indoor cultivation. People at the time not being able to control the terps of the strain. And I think he's kind of smacked me down on this, but I'm still holding firm on this, that it's indoor cultivation in part that is one of the reasons that we can't bring it back, or we haven't brought it back yet, because we've eliminated the outdoor breeding aspect of it. In order, in my opinion, to bring it back, the strain that a lot of us remember, we have to put out similar strains in similar environments. You know what I mean? I guarantee it developed that skunk terp because it was trying to ward off deer or whatever type of animal, and that was ultimately what brought out them terps. And now that we're mainly breeding indoors, we're not, there's not fucking deer kicking our plants. You know what I mean? There's not shit, other animals, rabbits and shit, trying to eat it to where it needs to bring out them terps. So I think that's one of the difficulties in bringing it back, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the big things I've been learning watching the plants is, a lot of these chem varieties are skunky like the skunks and they grow like the skunks. And I can kind of see where, it went a little bit and where like it's just that really, you make you kind of puke, really, trash smell, dead, like something died. And people are, wanting to go back that. And I think you're absolutely right. People that got into indoor breeding in the 80s happened, they were cracking down on this stuff, greenhouse stuff. There was a drought. Like, if you literally go talk to like deadheads who were going to a lot of the Grateful Dead shows, they will literally tell you about how there was like all this like, dog butt or skunk or like, you'll literally hear some of the oldest strand names and how like good they were. And like, all of a sudden when the 70s shows hit to like the 80 era up until like the early 90s, a lot of there was just a big drought and like a lot of that bud that was getting grown outdoors wasn't happening anymore. People were getting in trouble and a lot of that good kind bud stuff like that was like really strong, like like it was just gone, and like cops will always say, see movies that will be like, oh, you smell like a skunk, it smells like skunk, or blah blah blah, you smell like a skunk. Well, it's because at that time frame, that kind of stuff was being ran like crazy and like being spread out in like shows and things like that across like the only places that it could. You got to remember the culture was a little more underground, a lot more smaller. So if you went to a show at this city, you were able to connect and get some of this stuff and then bring it back to your city. And it was this whole like underground network because there was no media, no cell phones, none of that stuff. These people were recording cassette tapes and passing them to each other with, whatever they had and things like that. So like, this stuff really spread around. And as these people would get in trouble and not be there anymore, this stuff wasn't being spread around. And it really did disappear. And like, there's that whole thing where, Sam the Snook Man went to Europe and he changed it to cheese. And well, if he predominantly had the skunk line and he was the one who probably had the most seeds being pushed out of it because like not many people were pushing out seeds, and he changed line, well then yeah, it probably did really fade away. And if you really want to get that skunk, you're gonna probably have to go through his gear,
Bam, nailed it. That's one of the reasons. All right, you just take me back to another prior part of the conversation about breeding and the importance of wanting to I appreciate, again, I got tons of, even more further down the line in this conversation, I've gained even more respect for you as a breeder, to be quite honest with you. But when I'm talking about you encouraging others to do the breeding, I'm fucking worried about that shit. I'm terrified, Cannafari, to be honest with you, because we're at such a great time in cannabis, to be honest with you, to where, well, with labs and tests, that we could actually figure out a lot of genetics. You know what I mean? A good recipe of what we got, what we came to love, instead of right now everything's so cross, hybrid, and cut only, which a lot of times is herm only, and were herms that made it through the cut, and which are being bred with, and mistakes, they come back out in breeding in time.
That's a good. That was a really good thing to touch up on there. People are like, why do you bring it out to F4? Or why do you bring it out to F2 or 3 or this or that? And it's like, well, I don't want things to hurt on people. I want to know, because, Do-Si-Do and Pug and like a lot of these that were, made from bag seed, if you don't work out these things deep down the line, you're going to have these problems unless you know what's true that's going to come out. And you're not always going to be right, but the more you get into the line, the more you're going to be sure that it comes out correct. And like one of the things that I would bring up is like if you look at the old breeders like Neville, Hayes brothers, any of those old guys, we were talking about Sam the Skunk Man. They would take, let's say, their line of skunk, they would cross it to multiple phenols, multiple males, and they would really like see it down the generations. And if they found Herm or something, you know, they would mark it, okay, that was the Herm pheno, blah, blah, blah. Let me see how many generations I can go to find that again, or if it ever comes back again, and things like that. So it's like a whole rabbit hole of really trying to dig for what you want as you get into a line. And like you said, a lot of people are making hybrids and stuff. And like you know, I see that side of things too. You know, the only way we'll have a lot of genetic material is if people constantly make stuff. So it really is getting to the point, like you said, it is getting crazy today. I would, you know, it is scary. People are making just, you know, seeds all day and that whole thing. But, you know, there's also this other side of things too. You know, like some of these companies have gotten really big and now they can grow huge numbers. And, you know, some of the seeds they're pushing out are really good. Like here's a good example. You know, Cali Connections was one of the first people I ever heard of making fem seeds. And if you go look up, you know, their fem seed history, it's not very good. You know, people would, you know, trash talk them and this and that and like make it a whole bad thing and like hate on their strands. You know, flash forward 10, 15 years later, you know, every company's making fems. There's good ways to do it. People are really good at making fems. People still suck at making fems. And a lot of those Cali Connection things that were made 15 years ago are used in breeding programs like crazy. So, you know, there's so many angles to look at it. And, you know, the real thing, you know what, you're right to be afraid. You know, you want to really know your breeder and know what they're doing. And you want to make sure if something goes wrong, they're going to take care of you and they're going to find out what the problem is. That's a really big thing to look into.
So, and again, and just for conversation's sake here, you know what I mean? I'm not asking you to come my way on this or whatever. But this is the other reasons why I'm asking. I kind of look for the slowdown. And you've kind of touched on this point yourself, is when it comes to breeding and the pheno selection and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That shit's lost down the road, as we pointed out with like sour diesel. You know what I mean? It's bred by this cat. It's BX. It's BX. Well, through the BX process, that breeder has done pheno selection. You know what I mean? It's a reproduction and reinterpretation of what they think the original was.
Right.
But they can't, you know, to accurately reproduce, as you stated, they need to at least either have mom and pop or some starter packs of what they worked from. You know what I mean? That they can pinpoint a similar sister and brother to kind of maybe. And then even at that, it's only second best. You know what I mean? And with technology being the way that it is now, there's, in my opinion, there's no reason for that shit. I would think when you're breeding too, you the same thing. You would want people to work with your version from now on. And there's no reason in this point in time they shouldn't work with anything but yours. It shouldn't be a back cross. You know, with things now, the way the things are, you can actually take, and hopefully, you know, at some point, you know, I know it costs money, but I hope you utilize this, like say tissue culture. You know what I mean? There's no way that, you know, you can't put, you know, your pug's breath and your dosey in some tissue culture and go, okay, they're safe. You know what I mean? And again, with your moms and pops or your moms of both, you know what I mean? In case you want to move on. And now someday you're moving on, you found different moms and pops down the line. This is what I'm working with. But, you know, one of your crosses, you know, the Dodo days, you know, they love that shit. You know what I mean? It was legendary. Now you can bring mom and pop out of tissue culture and put them out, reproduce seeds again, almost identical to what you put out the first batch. You know what I mean?
Oh, that would just be like such a beauty. And that's like where, you know, all this thing getting bigger and more legal and people like, you know, you know, as these people get into, you know, tissue culture and bigger corporations and stuff, you know, they should be looking into some of these little guys to pool mothers. And I see how it goes, you know, both ways. People trying to hoard things and this and that. And like, I don't know. I start telling people, you know, we're all gonna die. So I mean, just like you kill a plant, you know, that, you know, that will happen to us. So, you know, if we don't spread this stuff now, it's gonna be, you know, the sad story of the stunt where nobody can find this thing because who knows, one guy wanted to order it or this or that. So I agree with you, you know, I wish that, you know, everything could go that way. You know, I would love to just, you know, go, hey, will somebody just store all of my moms in tissue culture and let me just pop all the seeds? You know, I would, you know, I've even debated about working with, you know, some companies and getting into their facilities just to pop all my seed stock and see what I truly have and do projects with them, knowing that they're gonna, you know, possibly get to own every little bit of everything and just be happy to do the project and, you know, things like that.
There's cats like Raptor Grows that's had a few episodes here on my channel, and he hangs out quite a bit over there on Fumadors. But you can directly reach him on Instagram. But there's a lot of other cats out there that are, you know, leading some great information on at-home tissue culture. To basically, you know, where you could be doing it at home, taking samples and keeping you in the, you know, basically buying you a small refrigerator, keep it 60 degrees and storing all your cuts in there. And he actually is, you know, kind of back and forth DM telling you, you know, even how to clean up cuts, you know, through the process.
That's
So it's getting to be very at home, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
I mean, that would be the way to go, you know, and you know, it comes down to like what you're trying to do. For me, that would be beautiful because, you know, I do hold a lot of this genetic material and like, you know, it sucks to go like, oh man, I made this awesome cross and like now I don't have the original. You know, like here's a good example. There's a strain we call Gold Fighter, and it's that kosher Kush crossed to the Starfighter, and that kosher Kush, man, I would have kept that forever. And we all lost it, obviously, because, you know, we all, you know, and you know, we still have the Starfighter line, but we don't have that original male. But like, man, that the clone we carry is just like, wow, man, you could give that thing to anybody and they would just like just love everything about it because it, you know, it has everything you want. And like, you know, we just kept thinking like, man, why didn't we keep these parents, you know, this and that, just, you know. And you know, tissue culture would have really been a thing. And, you know, there are companies out there that, you know, are trying to make it a money thing, and nobody really has that money. So for like, I mean, people do, but you know, for them to bring it to the home setting and help people out on that, that's how it should be. And I'm glad to hear, you know, things like that.
Yeah, me too. Because as a, you know, somebody on your end of it too, I would be, you know, that whole genetics mess with Phylos there in the beginning. I still think that's a little bit scary, to be honest with you, to give for like all you guys that's given all your hard work over to like a storage bank like that. That'd be pretty scary on my part, to be honest with you. Too, I'd be worried of somebody taking my genetics and then at some point just going, yeah, forget you. Again, the renamed strain. But again, with testing, yeah, I think it's easy enough to point shit out anymore to where you could call foul, but maybe not. But it'd still be scary. I'd rather keep them at home in my fridge. To be honest with you. To be honest with you.
Right. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. And you know, it's been that way. And you know, I've watched people, you know, grab cuts that, you know, I like cherished, I've bred, I've, you know, hunted out, you know, you know, and like, you know, big pools and stuff, and like, then they just go like literally change the name because like, you know, the market wants it to say cookies on it. So, oh man, you know, it's a cookies cross, yeah, but you know, and that's fine. You know, I get how it is. You know, people want to do that. I keep everything the same and don't name change or anything because, you know, I see how things go down the line. The only thing that will ever happen to me is I get a lot of crosses that they didn't name it at all. They just put this times this. And then I go hit up the like person I got it from. They're like, yeah, man, I just don't care. And I'm like, what? Then I'm over there naming the strand for them, and then I try to make it a good thing. And I'm like, dude, you should, whatever. And then they'll just use my name, and it's like, all right, well, I'm glad I could do that for you, things like that. 'Cause, I want to help people out too. I want people to think that whatever they do is great, because it probably isn't. You're willing to try it out, and it ends up being great. Not everything is, but things tend to be if there's good, honest work into it.
And I've seen some goofy shit too, as far as kind of like slide his hand in the business. I mean, even worse, firsthand. I one of the most shitty things I've seen. I've walked away from booths. I've seen it twice. Two different breeders. That again, I think it's funny because you never know who's watching, basically. And again, it kind of goes with the show. I love the openness of this show. People, wanted me thought about recording, and I can't do it recorded. I prefer the openness of you knowing exactly what's being said, no editing behind your back of what I would do or say. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Good on both sides. But the same thing goes with like public dealings. I've sat back on many a night at events talking with somebody just outside of a booth, getting ready to approach, a seed booth and ask some questions, just like in earshot, but not, ready to approach. And it seemed this is one of the most shadiest things I've ever seen. And it pissed me off when I seen it. Was the cat had a jar on his table, a couple jars, and letting people smell it and whatever. And basically what I caught these cats doing in two different events, two different people, was telling that person basically whatever they were looking at on the menu. You know what I mean? He had that beautiful sample there. And if they would go, hey man, I want to grow out this X strain, and he'd be like, yeah, this is it right here. You know what I mean? And they'd be like, oh, that's nice. Yeah, I want a pack of that. And I'd fucking just look, go, that's fucking shitty right there, dude. I can't believe that kind of sleight of hand would go on. There's no reason for that shit, to be honest with you. But
I've seen it with clones too. People just change the clone name or this or that, and it's just like, dang, dude, what are you doing, man?
So, do you do all your testing yourself? To be honest, I'm just curious.
I do test everything myself, but the problem with that is, it's in my environment and how I do it. So obviously, I keep things as best as possible. So what I like to do is send out some packs to like random people and just all over and just see how they do with it, and then things like that. So that way I can kind of get like I have an outdoor guy who's in greenhouses. I got a guy who's like in tents. I got a guy who's like warehouse. So like between those three right there, I get to see like a wide spectrum.
Right on. I appreciate that. And one of the reasons I was asking was because testers play a big part in breeding, as well as trying to unfortunately find quality testers can be just as big of a problem.
And sometimes it's like some of these right here, I put them in hands of people that like weren't that great and had a lot of problems. So that way I could see if they had problems with them and stuff, and everything turned out great. But man, they suck at pictures and everything. So that's another thing too. So it's like, yeah, it's a battle.
Well, one of the shitty again, I have much love for the cannabis community, but there's always, and it always seems to be the same type of person, to be honest with you, and that's the money dominated aspect, not the quality dominated person. That usually seems to be, again, the sleight of hand, give me your money type thing. And this falls into the tester category as well. As reliability of putting your hard work into people's hands, and like you said, risking, you know, putting a fucking awesome, amazing fire strain in somebody's hand, and then them turn around and going, "Oh, this is something else, cut only." You know what I mean?
Right.
There, I actually seen this firsthand when I've said this story a lot, and that was the tester for ocean grown here in Michigan, no less, at fucking Clio Cup. Was the first year fucking Ninja Fruit was available, and he had dealt out the testers, and it was their first drop here in Michigan at the Cup. You know what I mean? Their first. So, and I happened to know, Vader and the crew over there, and I was hanging out in the booth, and we were running, doing the circle around Auto City, as I'm sure you know, and and we head around the track there, and shit you not, as I said, first available seed drop here in Michigan, first hand, be able to walk up and buy them. Here's a past tester with a booth, clone booth, and here's a full rack of Ninja Fruit fucking clones. Face to face with Ninja. First drop here in Michigan. So there is, a little bit of hopefully respect and honor when you pass some seeds out, that A, they'll get grown, and B, they'll be held responsibly until hopefully seed drop goes out, and then some for a respectable time, and then C, if the breeder would like a cut back of a pheno that you've discovered, that if you're a quality enough person and tester, that it gets flipped back. So I think, as again, I did testing for a very long time for a lot of breeders, so all these ethics are something that I hold true and dear in the cannabis and breeding side of things. So shout out to you, and hopefully in your journey you do, it sounds like you do already have a few quality testers, but
Thank you.
as you deal them out, hopefully that you do get that kind of respect from them lucky people, and they do provide quality pictures.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully notes.
You should have seen the pictures I got back for the stands, and then like I would throw some of them myself, and I was like, dude, what the heck was that? And they'd be like, man, I just couldn't get good light. I'm like, dude, go freaking take a branch outside real quick, or get it under a light or whatever, But I'm not gonna hate on everybody. Some of these guys are really old too, and some of them are just really good at running stuff. So I can't complain. There's a whole thing, and like what's a tester? Like, is it somebody who gets a free pack of gear before it drops and then like gives you feedback, right? So all my testers, they have to pay a fee whether they like it or not, and they're perfectly fine with that because it's cheap. They know it costs money to package it nice, make it look good. I throw a lot of my testers get free glass, they get free merch, they get more than they get a lot, but they get a lot of things with their benefits of and they make sure that I'm covered, and it's a whole thing, and then they get discounted pack. I get a lot of testers that they'll test the gear, and I only give them like 2-3 seeds sometimes, or maybe I'll give them 5, and they'll do the test, and they'll be like, dang dude, I love that shit so much, can I get a couple packs? I'll hook them up and the whole thing. I got a couple people who've taken my packs, and now they're breeding. They were testers before, and now they've been breeding, and they're starting their own companies, and they're using my gear to flag their whole company. It's cool, it's all love.
I love the fact that you brought up the subtlety. Is it tester or is it freebie? To be honest with you, because in my opinion, there should be a progression there. You know what I mean? In my opinion, there is a difference between tester and freebie. It should be tested, and then after the testers have to say, it should kind of go out as a freebie to kind of build things up, and get a little taste. It helps, and that doesn't have to be the natural progression of it. But it's sure there. I believe there is a difference. I think that a lot of times, if you just send them out as a freebie, I think that they hit the drawer more times than not as either a collector or they don't take them as seriously because they were a freebie.
Yep.
But it's, that's just again my opinion.
Yep. It's true. It's and that's a lot of people. When they want to be a tester or whatever, they hit me up. Yo, I want to be a tester or whatever. I tell them the whole lowdown and everything, and then I let them really pick out the different strands, so that way when they're getting their test, they can know it's something they want to run. And I'll throw in some other things that I want them to test if they're interested. If not, I probably hit the drawer, and that's cool and all. I definitely did the other thing where I was trying to do my testing, but do it as a free thing on the pack, and nobody would be growing on. I'd be like, man, what the fuck's happening? And then like a year or two would go by, somebody would actually end up popping it, and then they'd be like, holy crap, these are the bee's knees. And I'd be like, oh yeah, man, I fucking destroyed that whole line,
Yeah, actually, there should be a little bit of phase there too. There's been a couple of times I've had a couple of bumps with breeders. Me and Med Grower, another Michigan, awesome dude, great breeder, dumping lots of knowledge out there. I've ran pretty much everything that Med Growers put out. A lot of them I've had. A skunk beard I named. I have one that I actually ran that one first and named that strain. But there's been a couple of times, Primal Punch, I was blessed to have firsthand, and both were ready at the market point of, or I shouldn't say market, patient availability scale at the same time. Which I thought was kind of funny because I was DMing him going, man, they are fucking loving the primal up here in Flint. He was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I barely have my flower out yet. You know what I mean? And
right.
But it was a good thing. It was a good thing. And then when he dealt me out my last round of testers, I got the smash cake, the what's it? The smash cake, the garlic punch, and the biscotti times primal. And I had dropped the smash cake with before I had it public, before anybody else had it. He had just dropped his seedlings. It was that fresh, and he was like, "Hey, damn it." That wasn't the one you were supposed to start with. That one's not even talked about yet. Don't show that shit. So I had to grow it out the whole first round and not IG it or nothing because nobody else knew about it besides me or him. But it's make that.
Yep.
You got to tell me that when you send me the testers. If there's a drop list, you got to tell me. Because I went balls in too. I was like, I dropped the 2 out of 3 right away.
Right.
I went, I got some room. I'm dumping these. And he was like, slow down, one at a time.
Run it.
But
my whole thing is it's not going to spread itself. So, as a breeder, you can, what's your focus? To spread that line, or are you making multiple lines, or how are you going about it? For me, I'm always making lines. So I need everybody to just run it with it and, have fun with the stuff once it's in their hands,
Right on. Well, I'm just kind of checking in with you. We are getting into the wee hours. How you hanging in there? Have you had fun? Would you be willing to come back?
Oh yeah, of course. If you're ever have any other breeders or anything going on, definitely have it back. I do have to cut short here and leave soon, but I'm trying to push it out, but it's been hard.
No worries, brother. Because actually, usually, like I told you, I usually do the wormhole, but since we're so we've had a great episode. I love these episodes, but honest with you, when we go the full distance, because it just kind of shows what great person I've had on the other end and what great night it's been, that I don't leave room for the wormhole. It used to be the rabbit hole, now it's the wormhole, but it's always been like an extra filler type
Right.
episode. You know, the spotlight's always been where it's been at for me, and it's been an awesome one. So in this case, if it falls short, I'm not so worried about it because I got a shit ton of trimming going. and shit has to be done. So it wouldn't, if we fall short, it's not gonna hurt my feelings at all. But I have had a fucking amazing time. But there is, before we wrap it up, and again, I'm not rushing you off because you are great company.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it was cool. What are you trimming?
Well, tonight it will be. Oh shit! What do I actually have to get up to look? It will be some of that smash cake. It's what's ready back there.
Okay.
It's what's next on the trim list. And there's some other junk back in the other tent. And it's some of the ones that's been ran, so it's like not on the calendar. It's just done.
Yeah.
To my life.
Awesome.
And so,
as
we talked about earlier, I got to give you the spiel, even though we went pre-show about this. I got to give you the spiel nonetheless. So since you have done the whole, came on, done the spotlight, and properly introduced yourself to the community, I would appreciate it if you did keep the Zoom number, tuck it aside, and use it as your leisure. Don't feel like you have to be invited. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't necessarily have to be about breeding. It could be like just a cool moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
That you want to come hang out, because sometimes the wormholes get a little squirmy, get a little weird sometimes. That's why they used to be the rabbit hole, by the way. But the rabbit hole guy, it was like one of those things, like when you buy a new car and then you fucking see a new car everywhere. That's what it got to be with the rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Once I started doing the rabbit hole, man, I seen that phrase like everywhere, and I was like, you know what?
Yep.
And it just happened. It was a weird progression. It happened on a certain episode with Green 13. So it was a weird progression to where it's at now.
I mean, as it is, and
but nonetheless.
Right. I mean, it's awesome, man. You've done a good job of bringing it all together and having fun with it. I can see that everybody in the comments has been having a great time. It's beautiful. I'm glad to hear it's working well and everybody's having so much fun with it. I sure did. I was really happy that mutual buddy there was able to get me here, and you were so great about being a host and putting up with me talking my ass off.
Oh man, I've enjoyed it. I'm glad that you were referred, man. It's not easy. And again, if you know another great person that you'd like to see spotlight, be sure to let me know, because I do this every night, and finding awesome people to spotlight isn't necessarily always easy. So I'm glad for the amazing referral. So that I'm glad it worked out both sides. Yeah, but I back to the wormhole there, and your invitation to that is, again, it doesn't have to be about breeding. Sometimes we are definitely talking serious cannabis. Sometimes it could be breeding related. Sometimes
all of it is good
it's
talk.
Psychedelics.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's on psychedelics. So it could be a little weird some nights. And some nights it goes psychedelics, full conspiracy theories, and some of that's actually my favorite wormhole right there, is when shit kind of goes off handle, everybody's smoking, going no, that shit. Them are my favorite wormholes.
It's quite a time frame. We'll start there.
So open invitation. Don't feel it has to be about breeding. If it just happens to be a cool moment and you're tuned in and you want to be a part of it, fucking roll that shit up, get your dabs ready, and fucking log on. Is my invitation.
Sounds good to me. You know, that is awesome. You know, I like how this is all set up. You guys do an awesome job. You guys make it all fun.
The other thing I'd like to get from you before you go is, it might be corny, whatnot, but I collect these, and when I've been quite busy lately, so I've been a little bit lax on releasing these sound bites. But in a way, I think it's good, to be honest with you, that they're not immediately released, because when they do get released on Instagram and wherever I release them, that it's a reminder. You know what I mean? If I release it tomorrow, everybody knew this happened. You know what I mean? But if I release it in a month from now, they go, wow, that was a cool one. I need to go back and check that shit out. Right. So basically, this is an old school, like, radio type sound bite, much like you'd hear on any other radio station where the artist comes on and identifies, hey, I'm on fucking 105.6, whatever. But in this instance, all completely your words, not mine, your version, because it will be, as I said, somewhat of a commercial for your episode. Basically, in a nutshell, the minimum, what I'm looking for, Cannafari, in this sound bite is something along the lines of, hey, this is Cannafari, and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 357. Whatever follow next is your words, not mine. You know what I mean? Please make it your own. Put your flair into it. You can put shout outs into it. Check me out at your website, your Instagram. It's all yours. It's your soundbite. But please, that's what I'm looking for, my friend.
All right. Thanks, man. I really enjoyed the night. You know, I really enjoyed having me. So what? Here's my little intro. I'm Cannafari, and thanks for having me on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle show. What episode?
357.
357. It was an awesome night. My Instagram is Cannafari. Website is cannafari.com. We just roll with it as we go, and thank you guys for having me.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you for that soundbite, man, and those nice words. I did really had a lot of fun with this conversation tonight, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from you. And again, it's nice to hear that there's some fucking fire genetics being put out there, some quality work being done by you guys, and much respect to you guys for that. And thank you for spreading some out to the community here, the people, the folks that watched tonight. That's pretty awesome of you too. And not mandatory for any time you log on, man. If you want to come on and spread some love at any point, some shit you want to drop, you're more than welcome to log. And then that's what I mean too. Anything that you want to, wormholes are great for that. Pop on, hey man, I got some shit I want to spread some love. You're always welcome to do that at any time here. So thank you again.
No problem. Man, the comments have been great. Thank you guys all for being a part and watching this. You know, you guys made it fun too. You know, Eagle, you're a great host, and I really love the show. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Again, thank you for participating in this. Thank you for your time. It's the most valuable thing we got, man. And get some rest. Get some rest. I'll go ahead and end this thing out. But man, I did have a lot of fun, and much respect to you. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and log it out. You can just go ahead and hit end if you'd like. If you'd like to stick around to the very end, you're more than welcome. But thanks again to you, Cannafari, the people that watched tonight. Much appreciation and respect to you guys. As you guys know the routine, I will fire this back up briefly for the shout outs. You guys know the deal. I cannot go a night without the shout outs, man. Much respect to you. Much respect. I kind of awkward goodbye with Cannafari there as I look back, but hopefully he's still listening because he did make the shout outs list as well from hanging on and doing his story tonight. But I am going to end this so I can rock out and do the shout outs and get to work. But as you know, I can't do the shout outs without a little bit of music. So that is the end of 357. Please give me a minute to stretch, get something to drink. I will log on through 357.5 shout outs. I'll see you guys in a minute. Love you guys. Thank you for watching up to this point. If you don't log on for the shout outs, I completely understand for not coming on and listen to me babble a bunch of great people's names, but they deserve it. So that's the end of 357. You guys know the deal. This is the end of your journey. Please get some rest. This is the beginning of your day. Please make it a prosperous, awesome day. Most importantly, do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. I'm a living, breathing example of that. I will see you guys in a few minutes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Much love, respect to all you guys. I will see you in a minute.